ABK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are officially in the off season, and it's lottery time. Tonight on ESPN at 8:30 in about 20 minutes, the lottery will take place. And for the first time in years, the New York Knicks are not part of that lottery. Can you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? The New York Knicks are not part of the lottery. I, for one, feel good about it. I know there's some people that maybe do not feel good about it, but I do. And I know you hear a lot of noise in the back. You got guys outside riding dirt bikes and all kinds of stuff. So just ignore it. Just ignore it. But anyway, the New York Knicks will not be in the draft lottery tonight. But it doesn't mean that it will not impact the way that the Knicks decide to draft. We're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to talk about some potential draft plans for the New York Knicks. The Knicks have 2 first-round draft picks, and 4 picks overall. So we're going to get into it and break it down a little bit. I got my guy, Nate. Pretty sure we'll have some more people join us in the chat as time goes on. Obviously, I'm going to take some phone calls tonight, and we're going to break this thing down and figure out just what the Knicks might do, or at least what we think they might do. So let me get Nate over here. Let's get this party started, man. Nate, what's going on with you today, man? How you feeling?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I didn't know what the lottery is tonight. I guess because the Knicks aren't in it, I really didn't care for it. I didn't even circle it on my calendar like every Knicks fan probably does whenever we're in the lottery.
Yeah, the lottery is tonight. It's definitely tonight. Yeah. It starts at 8:30, and we'll find out who those top 14 picks are.
Yeah, man, this is progress. This is what progress looks like when you have a team that's won and, you know, it's taste of the playoffs and all that. This is what happens. I mean, you get out of the lottery doldrum and you get into the later rounds. And I've always said, if you're drafting in the later rounds, you're doing something right. So, you know, this is only an upward trend for the Knicks. And, you know, the fact is that, you know, we could be talking only about 1 pick. They got 2. So there's going to be some, you know, movement possibly up or down with the Knicks. And, you know, then you got 2 second rounders too. So you've got some opportunities to look at some packages if you want to really move up and target a player.
Right. And that's the thing we're talking about tonight, because there's no way that the Knicks are going to draft all 4 of these players, in my opinion. Not with Tom Thibodeau here. He doesn't want to have 4 rookies and then 2 second-year players and then a third-year player, R.J. Barrett. Yeah, I don't think Tom Thibodeau wants to deal with that. I don't think the Knicks want to deal with that. You don't win with young players. You build with young players. You grow with young players. You got to have some young players so that you can solidify your future. So I do think the Knicks are going to draft a player. But we'll see what happens. They'll draft a player because, look, and I'm going to bring this over right now so we can take a quick look at, you know, what the Knicks have in the draft this year. And I think most people already know, but we'll take a look at it anyway. The Knicks, they have the 19th pick. That's their own pick. That's their own pick. They had the 21st pick from Dallas, 32nd pick from Detroit, and the 58th pick from Philadelphia. Now, the 19th and the 21st picks are both first-round picks. And guess what? Those players, once they get picked, they get guaranteed money. Now, that 32nd pick, while it's not technically a first-round pick, it's pretty damn close. It's pretty damn close to being a first-round pick. And in a draft that could be deep, you might be getting a late first-rounder with that 32nd pick. And guess what? The Knicks don't have to pay that guy if they don't want to. 32nd pick is not guaranteed to get money. So the Knicks, while they might make some moves, I do think they're going to draft at least one player. At least one player. All right. We'll see where it lands. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But yeah, you're right, Nate. We got four draft picks. I don't think the Knicks are going to keep all 4 draft picks. I think they'll draft at least one player. And I think they'll be making moves with those other draft picks. You know, and tonight's lottery, I think, will tell a lot about what might happen with the New York Knicks and those draft picks. You know, because depending on who lands in the late lottery, the Knicks may decide to make some moves with those players or with those teams. And of course, you know, whatever those teams need, that's what's going to make moves possible. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Before we even get into what I think some potential draft plans might be, I want to know what you think. What do you think the Knicks are going to do?
Me?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that the Knicks are going to trade up because there's going to be a player, I think, that they're going to target up there that they might feel that might fit the need of this team. Like I mentioned, Kisper. I think a premier shooter, a guy who has good range from 3. I mean, the Knicks desperately need a consistent knockdown shooter. And I think Kisper has that ability to knock the 3 down, but also has some game where he can take it to the rim, and he might be able to develop a mid-range game. So he could be an all-around player offensively. I think that's a guy that the Knicks should definitely target if they're going to try to move up, because more likely he's going to go in the lottery. I mean, a premier shooter, those are very far and few. And so I think he's gonna get in the lottery. So I think the Knicks are going to move up. I don't see them moving down. I think with these 2 first-round draft picks, they're going to try to move up because they're so close to each other, and try to at least get into the lottery if possible. Because you know there's going to be teams in the lottery they're going to want to trade down, because this draft is very top-heavy, and then after that it kind of falls down like last year's draft. So I think a lot of teams are going to look to move out, and that's where the Knicks are going to have an opportunity to move up.
Okay. All right, let's do this, because I want to break that down a little bit and talk about the Knicks, the possibility of the Knicks moving up and where you think they can move to if they try to move up. So let's break this down just a little bit. I want to take a look at what I think potential draft plans are for the New York Knicks. And the first one is to trade up to the late lottery. I don't know if they can get into the lottery. So I'm saying late lottery.
Yeah, that's probably
I definitely don't think they can get into top 5. But trade up to the late lottery. They could decide to draft both first-round picks. If they draft both first-round picks, it would surprise me, but it could happen. And if they do draft both first-round picks, then those second-round picks, they probably don't draft. And of course, they can use the picks in a trade for a player. I still think that they'll have a pick available at some point to draft, even if they use the picks for a player. Maybe they use the 19th, the 21st, the 32nd to acquire an established player. But I think maybe a pick would still be coming back so that they are able to draft a player this year still. So I think it's going to be very interesting. Again, trading up to the late lottery, drafting both of their first round picks, or using the picks in the trade for a player. What if we package the 2 first rounders and then the 32 to get up into the mid lottery? You think that could be possible? Mid lottery. So when you say mid lottery, you mean what? Like the 10s, maybe. Maybe 10s, 12 range. I don't know. I mean, I think that could work. That's 2 first round picks, and then you argue the 3rd pick could be a first rounder by the end of the round.
So I think that would be enough to get up into the 10th or 11th spot if they really have a player they target at that spot.
Yeah,
that would be my kind of idea.
It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough, I think, to get into anywhere, and for them to do anything better than a late lottery if they are planning to couple their picks and move up. I think it's going to be tough. So I'd be looking at them somewhere in that late lottery area, right? And Steph, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you? Hi, Nate.
Very good.
I agree. I think if they want to get up to 10, they may have to throw in a player, and it would have to be a player that the team wants.
Right.
Shout out to the chat as well. Seems like it's been a minute.
I know, right?
for me at least, yeah.
So okay. So you said if they want to get into that top 10, they'd have to throw in a player. So are you saying both first round picks, the 32nd pick, and a player?
No, I don't think the 36. I think the 2 first rounders and a player. Because with the 2 first rounders, I agree with you. I don't think you're getting past 15, 14 maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I think it's going to depend on who falls where in the draft. Right. When they do the lottery in about 10 minutes, I think it's going to depend on who falls where and what those teams need and what they're looking to do in the draft. Right. So let's take a quick look. True. Let's take a quick look at the lottery odds. Right. When you look at the lottery odds tonight, Houston, Detroit, and Orlando, they all have a 14% chance of getting that number 1 pick. Obviously, the Knicks are not going to be moving up into the top 5, right? I doubt it.
Right.
I doubt it. I doubt that they'd be moving up into the top 5.
No.
OKC, they have 11.5% chance of getting the number 1 pick. Cleveland has an 11.5% chance. Minnesota has a 9% chance. Toronto has a 7.5% chance. Chicago, they have a 4.5% chance of moving up to number 1. Sacramento, 4.5. New Orleans is 4.5. Charlotte is 1.8. San Antonio is 1.7. The Indiana Pacers have a 1% chance, and the Golden State Warriors, they have a 0.5% chance of moving up to that number 1 spot. It'll be crazy to me if the Warriors somehow found a way to move up to that number 1 spot. It'd be crazy to me.
No, it'd be crazy if the Spurs got the number 1 spot.
It'd be crazy if the Spurs got it too.
Shoot, I mean, it's happened before, so,
But if the Warriors find a way to get that number 1 spot, it'll be crazy to me. But when we're looking at the possibilities of the Knicks moving up, San Antonio is a team that I would target, right? You're looking at San Antonio being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe 12th. San Antonio, I think, is the type of team with their scouting department that would love to have 2 first-round draft picks. And thinking about the things that they can do with those two first-round draft picks. If I'm really looking to move up, I would target San Antonio to try to get into the late lottery if there's a player that I really want.
Yeah, and they may value Frank. Frank is not under contract, right? It would need to be a sign and trade, right?
Say that again.
Get his hands on Frank.
Hold on. Say that again, Steph.
I think San Antonio would also value Frank, but he's not under contract, so that would need to be a sign and trade.
Right. He's not under contract. By the time the lottery takes place, I mean, he's not under since the season. The Knicks can't trade him right now, even if they wanted to, because he doesn't have. They would have to offer him in order to trade him right now, and maybe even during the draft. They'd have to extend the qualifying offer, and he'd have to accept it.
Right.
I think, and then maybe you can trade him now. Maybe they can trade him because they have the ability to extend that qualifying offer. I don't know if that opens him up to trade or not.
Right.
It may, because, like I said, they can extend the qualifying offer, which if he accepts it, he would play for another year under that $8 million a year. Right. So I don't know if that opens him up to be able to, for the Knicks to be able to trade him during the draft. But San Antonio is definitely a team that I would target when it comes to trying to move up. That number 12 slot, I think, is, could be a nice slot for the Knicks. They're looking at someone like a Boak Knight or somebody other than that. Davion Mitchell, right? That slot might be a nice, sweet spot for them. And San Antonio may value having 2 picks in the draft.
Especially when they're in a rebuilding phase.
I think they would.
Yeah, especially being in a rebuilding phase. They might really value having 2 picks in the draft. Maybe the Knicks look at Indiana and say, we got some. You guys got some players that we want to target. Let's talk turkey. They might value some players over there. They got a big man and a point guard that the Knicks might be interested in.
I think also too, Sim, you have to take consideration that I don't know if they're going to make trades with an Eastern Conference team, especially when these teams are vying for playoff spots. I don't think Indiana's going to, want to, take 2 first-round picks to get maybe a better player for us so we could pass them up in the playoffs. I think the Western Conference makes a lot of sense because, we're only going to see them maybe twice a year, and they're not going to affect our playoff seeds. You know what I'm saying? Because the Eastern Conference was so close together this year that one pick or one player could actually catapult you into that other spot or higher. I'd be shocked if there's Eastern Conference teams making deals with playoff teams. You know what I'm saying? Or teams that were on the bubble to make the playoffs, because nobody wants to help each other out. Well, everybody wants to get their own.
Well, yeah, obviously, teams want to get better themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's going to depend on how close they think they are. Like, they may be wanting to get off of contracts, like Brogdon's contract due to injury. So if they feel like we want to tear this down and we want to build, we want to take a longer path, they might.
Right.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Right. It's true. And yeah, Nate, we lost your video for a second.
Sorry.
Mark, welcome.
What's up,
poppin'
man? How
with
you
you,
doing?
brother? I'm good. How you feeling?
Not much. Just getting in the crib, chillaxing right now. What up, man?
So we're talking about the possibility of the Knicks moving up. We got a couple of draft plans that we think the Knicks may go into the lottery. Well, not the lottery.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I keep saying the lottery. I'm so used to saying the lottery when it comes to the Knicks.
I know,
right? A couple of draft plans that the Knicks may enter the draft with, right? Mm-hmm. One is to trade up to the late lottery, which seems like it's, something that the Knicks may be interested in. Another is to draft both of the first-round picks. Mm-hmm. Then another one is to use those picks in a trade for a player. Now, also, I think another idea for the Knicks might be that let's say that they decide to use both of those first-round draft picks. Now, they might try to take that 32nd pick and trade it for another 2023 pick. Remember, the Knicks got 8 2023 second-round picks. They have 8 of those picks right now. Mm-hmm. I would not put it past them to collect a few more of those picks. Trade that 32nd pick. If they do draft, 19th and 21st, trade that 32nd pick for a couple of 2023, 1 or 2 2023 second round picks.
Go the OKC route. Just gather more picks going forward.
But those second round picks in 2023 are going to be really, really valuable because that's the first year that high school players will be entering the draft. Mm-hmm. Right? So that means that's going to be a really deep draft. You're going to have players that's been in school for 4 years. You're going to have juniors that come out, sophomores that come out. You're going to have freshmen that come out. And then you also got high school seniors entering the draft. That's going to be a really deep draft. You know what I mean? So that's why those 2023 second round picks are so valuable. But we'll get to that. What do you think about the Knicks trying to trade up into the late lottery? And who would you target for them to trade up? And give me your spiel in about 2 minutes because that draft lottery is about to start.
So I got two scenarios. If the Knicks stand still, I'm okay with it because there's two guys that I think that will be good for us. The Chris Darling kid and the Cooper kid, the point guard. Him and Chris, and Chris Darling, two guards, 1'6", 1'4", 1'6", but one of them could shoot. One of them is a point guard that can control the pace. I like his game. He can do a lot of stuff with the point guard. But me personally, I would like to trade down. And I just caught when you talk about San Antonio, if they're picking ahead of Golden State, I need to because there's one player that I want that I'll be fantastically happy. Book Night, that's who I would target. If I'm trading down, I'm only trading down to get Book Night because I think he's gonna go earlier in this year's draft. So in that case,
trading down or trading up? Trading down or trading up?
You mean trade up?
Trading up. Sorry, I'm trading up to get Book Night because they have him going to Golden State, and if he goes to Golden State, it'll be a perfect fifth one. But he's a real talented player that I think has a tremendous upside. A lot of people don't think, but I think he does. At the guard spot, a guy that can handle the ball, get to the rack, could do a lot with the ball, something that we need. But if we stand still, I'm okay because who they got us, those two guys is Knicks projected, the two players Knicks projected, and they're pretty good. And we could add those two young guys to our team. But when you're talking about using the pick to trade for, another player, who? I mean, I don't want to bring in no player that's injured. I mean, who's the player? So in that case, I don't see the player out there. Personally, at this time, I'd rather trade up. Or keep my pick and pick the two guys. So it's a win-win situation. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I say with San Antonio, because Book Knight seems like he'd be a good fit for the New York Knicks. And that San Antonio spot is a perfect spot for the Knicks, I think. That around number 12. Obviously, we're gonna find out in just a couple of minutes, how the lottery pans out. But to me, that's a sweet spot.
Yeah.
For the Knicks. Any chance, let me ask you this, any chance that the Knicks can find a way to get in between 5 and 10 and target Davion Mitchell?
Ain't happening.
With a player, maybe.
It depends, but we don't have, unless we're unloading RJ or something like that, then that's the case. But no way.
But Mark,
I don't even think about that.
The 19th and the 21st, you still got to give up an RJ to get into 10 with the 19th and 21st.
You have to.
You got to give up somebody, but I don't know about RJ.
19 for what we got, and you got to look at it. Who's the youngest value player that we have that can get us that close to that?
What about Obi 19 and 21?
It depends on if a team wants Obi that bad.
That's what I was going to say. What about Obi 19 and 21?
I mean, RJ's a wing player. He has potential, and he works at his game. It's not like he's like he can play the game of NBA. So it's like a team will take a chance on a player like that. Okay, with Obi, he's still somebody that gotta go out there and show his talent. I think he can if he's going to be used correctly. But at this point, teams gonna want the for sure thing. More than someone that's working his way.
Hey Mark, let me cut you off for 1 minute because right now the Houston Rockets, they lose their pick to OKC if it's top 4.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean that's
that sucks.
That's something. That's something. The Bulls. Hold up. The Bulls lose their pick to the Magic if it's top 4. The Timberwolves lose their pick to the Warriors unless it's top 3.
Ooh, the Warriors are in a case where they can come down all. If the Warriors even get 4 and their 14th pick come down to like 8 or 10, whoa, that's crazy for them.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
personally, me, if I was the Warriors, I'm calling Timberwolves back and I'm asking them, do you want James Wiseman, the 4th pick, and whatever that other pick is for Karl Anthony Towns? Because I feel like if you put him there, if you swap Karl Anthony Towns for Wiseman, I think there will be a wrecking.
Let me ask you this.
If I was the Timberwolves, I would do that in a heartbeat because you're gonna have Wiseman and Edwards at the same age, and then you could really work with those two as your stone. Because Karl Anthony Towns, he's 24 years old. Edwards, he has to wait for Edwards to come. So how much patience do Karl Anthony Towns have for that? Because right now, I think Karl Anthony Towns, any team you put with vets like Steph, Draymond, and Clay, they're the automatic championship team, automatically. And
but
if
you
I was
get
the
that
Wolves,
draft pick too.
I would give it.
But the draft, okay.
I would give that in a heartbeat because you're talking about a 50, 40, 90 big man, and you put him in an offense to play with 2 incredible shooters and a defensive player in Draymond. That's not going to have him playing soft. Nah, that'd be perfect for him because if he's playing with the Wolves, he has all the say so. Like he has all the say so. If he goes to the Warriors, he's not going to have that cachet. He's not going to have that cachet. He got to work for that now. So if I was the Timberwolves, I'm calling Golden State like, yo, give me back that 4th pick. You take Wiseman because I think Wiseman still have tremendous upside. This is me wanting to see Karl Anthony Towns play with players like that. And I just think it's a good trade for both teams. This is a win-win situation. But Golden State could hit gold. Golden State could hit gold tonight too. Because if the Lakers went from 14 to 4, that can happen for them.
Well, they can, but they're in the 14th slot right now. But then again, that 6th pick or that Minnesota pick, if it's not top 3, the Warriors get that Minnesota pick if it's not top 3. I don't know if it has any bearing on the 14th pick or at all. But if Timberwolves do get it, they get Golden State get next year unprotected. But let me ask this: is there any way with the Golden State Warriors, if they get anywhere between 6 and 10 from Minnesota, is there any player on the Knicks that Golden State would be interested in where the Knicks could package that player with the 19th and the 21st pick and move up into that 5 to 10 slot?
Maybe Mitch.
Why would they want Mitch? Why would they want Mitch? They got Wiseman.
But I'm
gonna be honest.
I think they're trying to chase Wiseman.
I'm gonna be honest. If you can't think upstairs, if you can't shoot past or think upstairs in the game, you can't play for Golden State. You just can't. And I don't think we have the players that complement that team. You have to be a high IQ player to play for that team. Because what I watched this year, they got that JTA kid. He's irreplaceable for them because he does everything Draymond do, and he's good defensively. I don't think the Knicks have them type of players. I'm sorry. We're not sorry. No. I think Golden State going to keep their picks, or they're going to look out to go get what I think Golden State going to do. I think they're going to keep those picks to get the young players, and they're going to look around for like vets that's going to take on minimum this year. I think that's what Golden State is going to do.
I think Golden State wants to win. I think if they have a healthy Steph is like in his early 30s. How many years he has left? So their window is kind of small. If Clay comes back healthy, you got Draymond. I think they're going to be looking to trade those picks for veterans that can help them now.
Yeah, but I don't think if the player isn't significant, I don't think they're going to trade their. I think if they get the 6 or 8 pick or with the 14th pick coming up, I think they would do that for a vet player. Yes, I think they would do, but it depends on the vet player. But I think they're going to hold on, scope out, see if they're going to get a super talented player to go along with those 3 so they can go down in the future. Because everything right now, they're going to play on Steph's timeline. But they're also looking into the future. So what they're going to try to do, if there's a player out there, like just think about it too. Ben Simmons is out there now. I think they will make a trade for Ben Simmons if it's out there. And I still think he's 24 years old. I think he's still talented. I think Philly's stupid. Don't trade him. I think he can still play the game. I just think they have to work with him. I think that I'm not going to give up that a 3-time All-Star first deep. Nah, I'm not giving that up. I'm not giving it up for nothing. No.
not for nothing, but he's too one-dimensional. You cannot have a
Simmons.
player like that taking up that much money on your cap who can't shoot.
But let me ask you a question.
Defense
Who
honest.
are you?
Hold up. One at a time. Don't.
Oh, my bad. Who are you going to give Ben Simmons up for? That's the thing.
That's
nobody.
That's for Philly to figure. Well, probably nobody, because I don't think anybody would take on that contract. I wouldn't.
Nah,
Listen,
but you guys can't
it's
shoot.
too one-sided, Mark. He's not even can't shoot. To me, I feel like he's being defiant. Like he's deciding he's just not gonna shoot.
He doesn't want
The
to shoot.
2, the 3, like he's not even Alfred Payton, who can't shoot, will shoot to try to keep the defense honest. You can't have that much money. I don't care how elite he is, and I agree, he is elite defensively. You can't have that much money tied up in an elite defender who cannot shoot or hit a free throw.
If you talk about Ben
keep him
Simmons
on the floor at the end of the game.
Okay, if you're talking about Ben Simmons for another young, coming up, talented star, yes. But if you're talking about Ben Simmons with some role players, no way in hell
I
I'm
mean,
doing that.
they'll figure it out, or move.
Because if you replace, if you replace Ben Simmons, right? If you replace him, you're gonna have to get me a point guard that can do what he can do.
That's not going to be
and
hard.
score.
That's not going to be hard.
Find somebody shoots.
They may not be able to listen. If you get offense and free throws from that position, and the defense is just a little less, you win.
Listen,
especially because we had this conversation. We had this conversation last night with Tony Crow, right?
Yeah.
And especially if you got to pay $35 million to that man, I think you can find other pieces for cheaper that can do you well at the point guard spot. And then be able to use that money to bring in other players.
Right. That can do what he can't do. If Lowry is on this team, they in the Eastern Conference Final.
No. You got to understand, Ben Simmons is so significant to what they do even defensively, bro. What they do.
I'm not denying.
Let's go back to the Knicks, man. Who cares?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, the way that it came up with Ben Simmons.
Doc Rivers was horrible. He does not.
Yo, hold up, Mark. Okay, hold up, Mark. Calm down. The reason why Ben Simmons came up is because we're talking about, who would the Knicks, if you were going to do a trade, what player out there would the Knicks trade for? When you're talking about that 19. Hold up, Mark.
Oh, my bad.
When you're talking about that 19th and 21st picks, who would the Knicks trade for, right? So when you're talking about those draft plans, you got, will they trade up in the lottery? Then you have, will they use both of the draft picks, or will they use the picks to trade for a player? They use both of the draft picks. Let's talk about that for a minute. And shortly, the draft is going to be, the lottery is going to be on shortly. But using both of the draft picks, if they use both of the draft picks, I just find it hard. I just don't see it happening. Steph, what do you think? I just don't see it happening that they're going to use both of those draft picks.
No.
I don't see Tom Thibodeau wanting that young of a squad.
Yeah, I agree with them. They may not use any of them. Like they may trade both of them. It depends on who's available. The only caveat I would say, Sim, is we haven't heard a peep about how they feel about Randall. That's what gives me pause. Because if they moving on for Randall, then they may use those picks. But if they're not moving on from Randall, then no, I think they're going to trade that for a player that they can use now.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. I would keep those because we have to get faster. This team needs to get fast. We cannot play like this.
They're not going to play. So why not? They're not going to play under Tibbs.
Okay, anybody that you get, right?
Yes, go ahead.
Anybody that you get, we have to play fast. Because the way we played last year, it was almost an anomaly to get what we got last year. But when you look at easy points and fast break points, we cannot go into another season going against teams that's getting better and playing the same way. We might not be the same team next year, get the same outcome that we got this year. So I'm looking to keep, if these picks don't get me a decent role player that can play fast or that could significantly help my team, I'm keeping them for younger players that can do things, or have talent that could do something. But we need to get fast to an extent that can help everybody utilize their skill set. We have a lot of guys on this team. They play fast, they will look a little more better. Playing, sometimes it's good to play the half court, but every time we come down, we cannot play like that. We have to get easy baskets. We have to get easy points. I've watched this season, and it is horrible not to get easy baskets. You're watching your own television, and you're telling your team, run.
We get it. Listen.
I agree. Sorry, son.
No, I was gonna say we get that. We understand it, right?
Yeah.
But just because you draft somebody doesn't mean that the coaching staff is gonna run.
Right.
It has to do with the coaching staff and the schemes that they put in. It doesn't necessarily have to do with the players.
That's a Tibbs thing. That's not a players thing.
If you look at Obi is built to run. The Knicks didn't run.
Yeah, but he did run.
Another thing too. We don't have guards at the helm that will push the pace too. Also, that's another thing. Because with Derrick Rose and Payton, they have court players now. Derrick Rose might run the fast break once in a while. It's not like early Derrick Rose where he ran the fast break every time he got the ball. He's more of a half court. So our guards, we're gonna have to look for a guard that can initiate fast break. That's where I'm at with it. I need a guard that can initiate it.
So my question is, yeah. You're talking about keeping those 19th and 21st picks. Are you finding it there?
With the guy I'm talking about, the Cooper kid, yeah, I think he can fill that role very well.
I like Sharif Cooper too. But you think listen, we still got Obi that's going to command minutes. You still got IQ that's going to command minutes. You think they're going to play two more rookies for first and second year players? I just, that's not Tibbs' MO.
Well, listen, man, then we got a dilemma with Tibbs then. I'm going to say it because if you're not going to do things to change to your players, then how are we going to excel as a basketball team?
Well, the only thing I'm gonna say, this is what I'm gonna say to that. At least right now at this point, you can't argue with 41 and 31.
No,
you can't argue. Hold up, don't cut me off. You can't argue with 41 and 31 right now. So whatever Tibbs did this year worked. So the only thing you can do, you can talk about we got to do this, that, and the third, and he'll look at you and say, we won basketball games. Exactly. We were the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. We didn't win in the playoffs, but we were the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference after we hadn't made the playoffs in however many years. Right now, you really can't argue with Tom Thibodeau about what he did. You can't argue with him at all with what he did.
And I'm not, because I think he done a job that I don't think no coach in NBA could have done with this team. What was so great about this year, I wouldn't even care if we made the playoffs, but the defense was outstanding. The defense was outstanding from these group of guys. So to get that, that's great. But now if you're talking about now we have to look at the offensive side, because sometimes remember, you have very awesome offensive players, and sometimes you're gonna have to go fire with fire. Now, if I don't see that change, I'm giving him the years that he has here to change what needs to be changed. I'm not saying get rid of him. No, I'm not going to do that, because what he did, he gave discipline to the team, and he's the face of the Knicks. I don't want no player to be the face of the Knicks, because I don't think these star players can handle to be the face of their team nowadays, just the way they are. They're too fickle for me. So in that case, I'm giving Tibbs his coaching years. But if he does not change when it comes to utilizing your players due to implement their playing style at times, I'm not saying change it for all of them. I'm just saying at times when you have certain players on the court, you have to adjust to that. And if he can't do that in his 3rd, 4th year, we're going to have to look into bringing we have to look into bringing an offensive coach, because Mike Woodson left and it changed. If you look at it changed when he left. But we have to look for that. If we get someone that could implement the offensive.
I get that. I get that. But we also because I see people, and I don't want to get too far away from the draft here, but I see people talking about adjustments this and adjustments that, and I agree. And here we go. Before we start, Golden State's at 14. Indiana's at 13, and San Antonio is at 12. So right now, the draft order is the way that it was supposed to go. The Charlotte Hornets are at 11. All right, so the draft order.
I call the Hornets too. I call the Hornets. Like, listen, I would trade for Terry Rozier if he's available. I like him.
Okay, hold up. The Pelicans are at 10. The Kings are at 9. All right, so right now we're looking at 14, 13. We're looking at the Warriors. We're looking at Orlando is number 8. Okay, so we're looking at the Warriors, the Pacers.
Pelicans look mad.
We're looking at San Antonio, the Hornets. We're looking at the Pelicans. We're looking at the Kings. We're looking at Orlando. Possibly teams that you could move up with.
Yeah.
Did you see the Pelicans GM? She looked so pissed when she got number 10.
Golden State is at wait a minute. Golden State is at number 7. So that means Minnesota did not move into the top 3. So Golden State has the number 7 and the number 14 picks. And the Toronto Raptors moved into the top 4.
Wow.
Your team is going fast, man.
Yeah. OKC's at number 6. OKC is at number 6, which means Cleveland just moved into the top 4.
Why Cleveland always at the bottom of the top, right?
You know what I'm saying? They're always up there, right?
With their picks either.
I'm telling you.
It's just a waste.
No.
Orlando's at number 5. Now, Orlando has 2 top 10 picks.
Oh, my God.
2 top 10 picks. If I'm the Knicks, I'm calling them. I'm sorry. I'm calling them. They got the 5 and the 8. If I'm the Knicks, I am calling Orlando.
Yeah, I'm calling.
Well, who do you want over there, Sim?
I want that number 8 pick.
For the pick, okay.
Yeah, I'm calling them for the number 8 pick.
You're right, too. The pick, yeah. You the pick, too.
You're going to have to give up a player, though, unless you're going to give up next year's first as well.
No, I'm keeping next year first, though. We could be a horrible team next year.
I'm calling them because now they got number 5, they got number 8. I am calling Orlando and say, what do you want to do for that 8 pick? I got 19, I got 20. They can have 3 first round picks, and they can have that 32nd pick.
Dang, Ben Wallace looks old.
I'm calling you can't hurt.
Oh, yeah, Sam, we have to call him because I would love what's the kid name? Oh my God, he's another wing guy. I got his name.
Jonathan
Somebody
Isaac?
in the chat.
Isaac?
Somebody in the chat. No, not him. No, I don't think Orlando's traded him. No, there's a guy that's
Bombo?
Huh? No, there's a guy in this. No, there's this guy in this year draft that will complement the Knicks so well. He's going around 7 and 8.
Kisper?
I got his name. No, I don't want Kisper. I know. I think he's okay.
Josh said number 8 isn't a good number for us.
Moses Moody. Talking about
Evergreen.
Is that you talking about Moody?
Is it Moody?
Moses Moody from Arkansas, the wing.
I think so. I think it is.
Who are you talking about now?
Yes.
What are you saying?
It is Moses Moody. Yeah, Moses Moody. Yes, you're right.
I mean, but you may be able to trade up to get him in the lower lottery.
Nah, he's going top 10, Sim. He's going top 10.
I'm gonna say this: that no matter who the Knicks draft, this person needs to be able to put the ball in the bucket.
And for me, that's book night. For me, that's book night. Around that
score. If he cannot score, he should not be on this team. Period.
Around that area, a book night is the guy who I would trade up for. That's who I want. Because I think his potential is more than what he's projected. He can shoot, dribble, pass, and he's smart with the ball. He's smart.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying I'm calling Orlando.
Yeah,
I'm calling Orlando.
Orlando.
Now, look, they dropped out. They probably thought maybe they were going to be, or were hoping that they were going to get a top 3 pick, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, but they got a new coach. They're going to have a new fresh start. I mean, yeah, they very well could be open to whatever.
And now that they dropped down, they still have a top 5 pick, and it's probably
Let me ask you a question, Sam.
hold on, one second. It's probably a top 5 draft, right? Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Jalen Suggs, Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga.
Yep.
right? It's
Where was Toronto?
probably a top 5 draft. And then then it's going to be a drop off. Then it's going to be a drop off after that. Maybe
I think this year's draft is going to be like last year's. I think this year the draft is going to be like last year. That's what I think. I think that's going to project it. The first couple of guys are good. Mitchell. Hey, Golden State is going to pick Book Knight. That's why I need to trade up because he is great. I think he's great.
Then what's the next?
Why would they take a point guard?
So hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. The next 4 picks are Cleveland, Toronto, and then
Detroit,
Cleveland, Toronto, Houston, and Detroit.
Wow.
So it's between those 4.
You know what's so crazy? Thing is from Houston. Cade is from Houston. If the league do this, I swear to God.
Detroit's gonna get the number 1 pick. I'm calling it.
No, he's gonna go number 1 for sure. He's a Houston kid, and because what happened to Houston, the league. I just don't trust this league after what they did with that Anthony Davis and what they did to New York. And we should have had Zion. I swear, I don't trust this league. I don't trust him. And Cleveland top 5 again? Come on.
Okay, here we go. It's back on. Let's see what's gonna happen here. Let's see what's gonna happen here. Well, actually, they're showing Devin Booker warming up a little bit. That Suns and Clippers play game 2 tonight in about 5 minutes.
He was my dream guy to trade for. He was my dream guy to trade for. What pick
was Devin Booker when we got
10.
drafted? 10? Oh, my God. Whew, what a steal.
He was the guy I was hoping Phoenix.
I knew he was going to be good. I told everybody.
That's the guy.
I was like, this guy's lethal.
That was the guy for 2 years. I said I would trade my whole roster for him.
Who did we take in that draft?
Probably somebody's name.
Booker draft. Who did we take?
I'm not sure.
What year was that?
I don't know what year is that.
Somebody's not even playing anymore.
I don't know.
For this. Let's not go there.
Let me see. Devin Booker was drafted in 2015. So who was drafted in 2015? Frank?
Oh God.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't know if it was Frank. I don't know.
No.
I'm looking it up now. Frank draft year.
No,
Frank was 2017.
Oh, Frank was 2017. Okay.
I'm still tripping over the.
Don't scare me like that,
Sam. That still makes me sick.
That would have hurt even worse, right?
The Knicks got a lot.
Oh, we took Porzingis.
Oh, it was K. Oh, for some reason I thought KP was 14. Okay, yeah, 2015 was KP.
Well, it is what it is, man.
All right, so here we go. So now, here we go. The Rockets.
I'm telling you, Detroit's gonna get number 1.
Yep, Detroit gets the number 1 draft pick, ladies and gentlemen. The Detroit Pistons got the number 1 draft pick.
Wow.
What did I say? Detroit.
Yep, the Pistons got the number 1 draft pick, ladies and gentlemen. And
why is Cade gonna die in Motor City, man?
He's probably he's probably gonna be the number 1 pick without a doubt.
He's number 1, man.
They got Hayes.
Who's number 2, 3, and 4, Sam?
Cade.
Hold on for 1 second. Houston is number 2.
Well, they got their pick.
Wallace.
All right, let me see. I have to back it up a little bit. It was Toronto at 4. And that's good for Toronto, right? They jumped up into the 4th spot. Then you got Cleveland at 3, Houston at 2. Hold up, Cleveland at 3, Houston at 2, and Ben Wiles and Detroit at 1.
Where was Toronto before they went?
I think Toronto. I think Toronto was going to be like 7th. So for them to jump up to 4th is, it's good for them.
Not bad. They could get Suggs. They could take Suggs. They need a point guard because
unless they're gonna move him.
Yeah, but he's not a full-time guard, man. He got destroyed this year. He can't be a full-time guard. He's more of a complimentary guard.
If there was one player,
they need another guard.
If there was one player, I would trade RJ Barrett for Suggs. I would trade the farm for Suggs. Suggs gonna be a star.
But Suggs is Suggs is still a question mark to me because he played with a lot of talent for his college team. I don't think he's a
built for point.
He's good. No, he's good, but people think got him like transformational good. I don't know about that yet. I got
size, his speed. He able to play point. He's pure.
Yeah, but
KD. But KD,
his college team was stacked.
Yes.
KD's college team was stacked. So you got to watch out.
So let me ask you. So looking at the draft, the lottery order, I'm gonna start with you, Nate. Looking at the lottery order now, if you're the Knicks and you're really trying to trade up, where's your focus? You know mine. I want to know where your focus is.
Yeah,
if you're trying to, I'm talking about the team, not the players. The team.
Right,
Who are you focusing on trading up with or trying to make a deal with?
I mean, the Warriors have 2 first-round picks, 7 and 14. You know, you had asked earlier, what might the Warriors covet on our roster along with if we package 2 first-rounders? I say Knox, man, because he's still young. And, I mean, he's got untapped potential. And the Warriors wouldn't mind getting a wing to back up Draymond that can shoot and come on off the bench and possibly start later if they decide to move on from Draymond at some point. So I think you could very well dangle the first 2 round picks and possibly Knox to get that maybe 7th spot if you covet somebody, because obviously you're gonna have to trade 2 first rounders and a player to get up there. And I think that would be probably the easiest thing to do if you're going to trade with the Warriors. Offer that package.
See, my thing with the Warriors.
Knox? Sorry, Sam.
I mean, why wouldn't they? A 21-year-old player that's athletic, that's
not in your rotation, though.
But it doesn't matter. He's not in our rotation. You don't think that Steve Kerr can unleash him and put him in their system?
But see, I think like Steph was saying, they're focused on trying to win. They're focused on trying to win. So I think they want established players. Not that they wouldn't think that Knox could one day be a player for them, but I think knowing that they have 2 first-round picks already, they know they're going to get a young player. I think they'll be looking to get an established player if they're going to trade down. Because if they're going to trade down, they're going to be trading down to the 19th and the 21st pick. Why Knox? They're already going to get 2 more young players. Right? I think they would be looking for someone established.
It just depends on what they value. I mean, what they see. I mean,
no one values Knox. Trust me, no one values him, because if someone valued him, they would have called the Knicks to ask for him in the season. No one values that kid. He has a lot.
They're not going to trade for him. They're not going to trade for him, bro. I'm talking about
if he was good. Listen, if he was good, right, and the way how he went out with the Knicks, teams would have called for him because of the situation he's in. He's just not that good. It's okay. But the Warriors would not call us for him.
I get what you're saying, but you also got to remember, too, the Warriors need a plan for the future, too. I mean, yeah, they're trying to win now, but they need to get set up for the future, too. So who knows?
Nate, they can trade for a player. They can trade for a player that's still young, that can still develop with the rest of the guys. They don't have to go completely young all the way back to 19, 20 years old. They can find a 22, 23, 24-year-old guy with that pick. And that's what you're going to want to do, because
who's more established than Knox?
Knox is not that smart to play in a offense. You have to be high level to play in that offense. So any guy they get, has to learn how to play off of these guys, period. You have to have IQ for that team.
Right. And those 2 picks plus the number 7, Knox is not getting you in the top 10.
It's not happening. It's too many younger players that Golden State will call before they even think about calling.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I think Obi with Golden State could possibly get you up there. I think that they would like Obi, and I think he would work very well with Golden State.
Okay, I would say this. If they'd have drafted Obi, yes. But because of the development of JTA, I think that I don't think that's going to happen, because what you got in GTA, you're not going to trade for Obi, because Obi's not going to get the minutes in front of him, because he's really that good. He's really, really that good. So I don't think they're going to trade for a player that's going to be a rotation player now. I don't think, because if Obi goes there, he's not going to play in front of Draymond. He's not going to play in front of GTA. He's not going to play in front of Pascal. He's not going to play in front of Wiseman. So you have 4 positions right there that he's not going to play in front of. So I just think the Knicks are not even a look for Golden State. I think it's going to be more of another team that's looking to get rid of, another seasonal player. They're just looking for seasonal players. If the rookie ain't that good, If their rookies ain't that good, they look for a seasonal player. I don't think they're gonna go.
So who do you think? So who do you think the Knicks would need to target to try to move up?
Me, San Antonio, because San Antonio is in a particular spot because they have young talent, but they wanna keep collecting talent. So if we give them 19 and 21 to go down, I would do it because I don't care. I would do it. I'll give them the 19 and 21 to go down. So the more assets for San Antonio, the better.
Can we use those draft picks and a sign and trade with the Pelicans for Ball?
It depends on what other team wants Ball.
I'm not trading no draft picks for Ball.
Stephanie, Lonzo Ball, he's good, but there's going to be other teams that's going to be in a run for him.
But as far as that question, Lonzo Ball, the Pelicans have to give him a qualifying offer as well. So it remains the same, like we were talking about with Frank earlier. I don't know if they can trade Lonzo Ball at the draft. I think because it all depends on. I'm not sure if you can trade someone who has a qualifying offer due to them. I'm not sure if you can trade them during the draft. You can't trade them during the draft. I think free agency. I'm thinking, no, you can't trade them during free agency unless you sign them. You know what I mean? You got to sign them, then you can trade them. But
it'd be a sign and trade.
But it wouldn't be trading those draft picks, Steph. It would be trading the players that you drafted, right?
That you drafted.
So you would have to talk with them now and say, hey, we are, we're willing to draft these players for you or whoever you want us to draft for you, and we'll do a sign and trade for Lonzo Ball. But then, of course, the whole talking to free agents doesn't start until August. So
right. Because Lonzo would have to agree to come to the Knicks, otherwise.
Stephanie, the Pelicans are in a spot too because they have to get better. So anything they're trading Lonzo Ball for, it has to be at least a player that's a little better than him or someone that's coming up. I just don't think Knicks have the assets to entice a team like the Pelicans because they want to keep Zion happy. So they're going to want to build the team, not go back down. We are in a dilemma. I can't call it. I can't call it till I see it.
Yeah.
They have a new coach they need to hire, so they might want to keep him too.
Right.
It's the Knicks are in a dilemma. We are in a dilemma that we can't figure out. We can't because we can't just say we're gonna have these free agents because there's other teams that are gonna be battling for the guys that we would like, and those other teams have better assets and a better destination for those type of players that we want. Like Kyle Lowry, I hear everybody talking about him. I don't think he's gonna come to a team that's coming up. He's 35 years old, and when he played for Toronto, he wasn't as good. So he's gonna look for a team where he could be at least good to be a contributing help and be a slight impactful player. I don't think if he comes to the Knicks, he can't play 35 minutes and handle the ball like that. Nah, it's a different ball game.
I'll tell you what to watch out for when it comes to Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
And this is just me thinking out loud. But Kyle Lowry's from Philly. I would not have put it past him to sign a contract or to agree to a contract with Philly, and then maybe some kind of sign and trade to be worked out where
Ben Simmons.
Toronto signs Kyle Lowry, and then they trade Kyle Lowry and Ben Simmons and other draft picks and this and that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think.
Maybe a change of scenery might be what he needs.
I wouldn't put it past it. Because
but let me ask a question. What picks do Philly got that's valuable for that?
I mean, listen. When you had if they wanted to work, they can find a way to make it work. Teams do things like that all the time. They find a way to make it work, right?
If Toronto's giving back Siakam in that deal, I'm doing it. I would think about doing it.
Siakam is in Toronto already. Siakam is already in Toronto.
Yeah, if you're going to trade Ben Simmons, you're not going to trade Ben Simmons. You're not going to trade Ben Simmons with Kyle Lowry. And what else you giving me? Kyle Lowry's 35.
Player in there.
I know. Yeah, we know how old he is, but I think that he can work in Philadelphia. I think that he'd be a good match with Doc Rivers, and I think he would work with Joel Embiid as well, and he's from Philadelphia.
And he has experience in that type of situation. He's not going to fade or fold. And his window is short, but Philly's window is short. Like, Philly could be right there if they make the right move.
Yeah, but if you swapping Kyle Lowry for Ben, how far is that really going to take you? Everything has to be on Kyle Lowry then.
I think you could put Thibault, whatever Simmons was doing on defense, Thibault can do on defense.
Well, you're talking about Kyle Lowry coming in and being that impactful. He has to be impactful for them to get to the finals.
And I think he can. I think he can be that impactful. And I actually believe that Ben Simmons. Hold up. I actually believe that Ben Simmons would work well in Toronto because you got another guard there who can be the primary ball handler and let Ben Simmons play in other spots that might benefit him a little bit more. And maybe he doesn't have to be that shooter that he doesn't want to be.
Wait, so you're saying you keeping Ben Simmons for Philly and still getting Kyle Lowry, or you trading Ben Simmons for Kyle Lowry?
Obviously, it's not just going to be Kyle Lowry. There would be draft picks and there would be a whole bunch of other stuff attached to it. But if they are done, with Ben Simmons, then it's not just going to be Kyle Lowry. What I'm saying is maybe you see Ben Simmons on the move and Kyle Lowry end up in Philadelphia.
But isn't Kyle Lowry a free agent?
Yes. That's why I said you could do some kind of a 3-team sign and trade. Well, Kyle Lowry goes to Philadelphia, Ben Simmons ends up in Toronto, then obviously other draft picks and maybe some other players, high draft picks, of course, come back to Philly.
Yeah, because again, if you're trading Ben, you're gonna get a haul because he's 24, still three-time All-Star. In a 2-time all NBA, so he's gonna as bad as he played, he's gonna require a haul.
You're gonna get a haul, and that haul could include that fourth pick. You never know.
Yeah, you're right. But I would think twice about doing that just to bring Kyle Lowry in because if I can go out and make trades, I know, but if I could, Philly could do it in a different way. And knowing Daryl Morey, he's shrewd of a player. I don't think he's gonna give up on Ben Simmons like that unless it's gonna be some way impactful player.
All I'm saying is, I think Kyle Lowry could work in Philadelphia, and if Toronto was willing to give up that 4th pick for Ben Simmons,
they would have to give me another player too. They would have to give me another player, 2 picks. You have to give me 2 first-round picks.
I mean, whatever it is. The point that I'm trying to say is Kyle Lowry could end up, if they're actually trying to move Ben Simmons, Kyle Lowry could end up in Philadelphia. That's the point. That's the whole thing that I'm getting at. Yeah. And Ben Simmons end up in another spot. That's the whole point that I'm getting at.
I just think you're giving up on 24-year-old. That's crazy.
But Mark, Lowry will move the needle too. I mean, if you think about what Chris Paul did for Phoenix.
Kyle Lowry and Chris Paul.
I understand that. But his toughness, he's been there. He understands what it takes to win a championship. And when you look at Philly, they got a lot of issues. And one of them is not showing up down the stretch, like not understanding the moment and being able to capitalize on it. And I think that Lowry would clean that right up.
Yeah, see, I agree. I think he would clean that right up. Getting back to talking about who the Knicks could target to try to make moves with, I'm still looking at Orlando. I think that Orlando, they have the 5th seed, they have the 5th pick, they have the 8th pick, and they're a team that is rebuilding. So, of course, they want as many young players as possible, right? And if you can find a way to get to that 8th spot, give them the 19th, give them the 21st, and maybe even give them the 32nd. Right now, they're putting young players in their cupboard. You know what I'm saying? They're putting young players in their cupboard. They got a 19th, a 21st, and they got a 32nd that could be like a first-round pick. You know what I mean? And then, of
Who are
course,
you looking at if they get 8th?
you know, I mean, you know, I'd be looking to get up to 8 so that I have my pick, right? You know, if I want Book Knight, you know, he's probably going to be there for me. If I want Davion Mitchell, maybe he's there for me, unless Toronto's gonna take him at 4, right? Because Toronto might be looking at that guy since Kyle Lowry is going to be a free agent.
Not at 4.
What about Moses Moody? I like him out of Arkansas.
Oh, and that's what I mean. If you get up to 8, you have your choice of guys that's going to help your team. Because I think the Knicks are looking to bring in a player that's going to help their team.
Davion Mitchell would be nice with the Knicks.
Yeah,
he'd be a good fit.
Yeah, and at 8, you might have a chance of getting him.
He kind of reminds me of Donovan Mitchell. It's kind of crazy. They look at similar size, play the same number. Their games look very similar. Like I think Davion's a better defender than Donovan is.
I seen Troy Flett said Toronto has Fred VanVleet. Yeah, they had. I mean, but think about it. They had Fred VanVleet and they had Kyle Lowry. I mean, they won a championship with them 2 guys. You know what I mean?
You got to play Ben Simmons off the ball.
You got to play him at the 4.
Yeah, you just
put him
can't
at the
have
4,
your point
man.
guard. You can't keep him on the floor.
You know, so I mean, you know, yeah. If I'm the Knicks, I'm looking. You know, I'm going to target Orlando. I'm going to give Orlando a call. I'm going to give. I'm giving Orlando a call. I am giving San Antonio a call. Right, those are the teams that I'm going to try to make moves with. I think, especially with San Antonio, I think you can have some success because, you know, their team I think is also going to be rebuilding, and they may look at that 12th pick and say, I don't know if we're going to get a player that's at the 12th pick that is a superstar. So we may be able to find good enough value at the 19th and 21st picks, and the Knicks may have guys like Boak Knight or something like that that's really on their radar. Even Kispert.
Sam.
Oh, I'd love Kispert, man.
Would you give up the 19, 21, 36, and next year's first for the Thunder's 6? Because the OKC is hoarding draft picks.
Yeah, and they got a whole young roster.
So this year's 19th, 21st, and next year's first round.
It's got to be protected. Top 3.
Yeah, I'd have to protect it. Top 5 or something like that, just in case.
Don't be stupid.
But if you're protected, I mean,
Who you targeting at 6?
What I would do is something like, if I did that, I would protect the top 5, but also say if it falls lower than the top 5, I don't know. Maybe you have a right to swap. I don't know. I don't know how to.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
So who are you targeting at 6 if you take Oklahoma?
That's true. Because most of the players that I like is in the top 5. Really,
there's probably 6. There's probably top 6 players that are really, really good, and then it drops off.
Who's the 6? Like
Davion Mitchell.
Davion Mitchell, I don't think is. I wouldn't
He's
put him
projected
that
to go
high.
possibly the top 4. I mean, he's a high riser right now.
I think that's over. But that's good. If he go in the top 4, that means some players drop.
That guy can ball.
Drop down.
He can ball.
He can, but he's 6'2". He plays good defense.
So is Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. I'm not as high on him. I think he's a good player. I wouldn't take him that high.
It's going to be interesting to see what the Knicks do in the draft this year. You know, obviously it's a big part to their offseason. I'm sure they're going to be making phone calls trying to acquire established players. And if they cannot acquire an established player, I think they'll be looking to find a player in the draft that can contribute now, not later. That's what I think. I think they want guys that's going to contribute right now.
And what's to say that Tibbs don't go with a defensive-minded player because that's what his mentality is? And even though our offense sucks, defensive-minded coaches love defensive-minded players. I mean, I'm pretty sure he would have took Okoro if Leon wasn't in love with Obi, but Okoro went before us.
I mean, I think I get that, but I think he does understand that offense is what eliminated them in the playoffs, and I think he understands that. Bro. I think he understands that offense eliminated the Knicks in the playoffs. So I think he knows he needs guys that can put the ball in the cup. Guys that, when Julius is shut down, can create their own shot. And still guys that can fit inside what he wants to do. So I think he understands that, and I think the front office understands that.
Hey, Sim, I thought of something. So we're probably going to let Peyton go. I mean, unless something crazy happens, he's gone from the Knicks. I could actually see him signing with Brooklyn.
Hey, he might. You never know.
They need a backup point guard. I never know. See it, man.
You never know.
See it.
You never know. I do want to open up the phone lines, ladies and gentlemen. Please give me a call. I did have them open earlier, but I wasn't able to get to it. 516-405-2246. I want to know what your draft plan is for the New York Knicks. I want to know what your plan is, so please give me a call, and I want to get to a couple of super chats here. Just let me get them up, and I'll get to the super chats. And I don't know. We lost Mark. Not exactly sure where Mark is, but we lost him. I want to give a shout out to Ralph Petito. He asked, what do you think about the NBA possibly changing the rule on fouls for non-basketball moves? I think it's a good thing, honestly. Oh, definitely, man. The Knicks, the NBA has to look at the way fouls are being called, and
you can't play defense anymore, man.
Right, exactly. Players are creating fouls. And, we're seeing fouls being called when the offensive player is horizontal.
Standing right there, just standing right there, yeah.
But, the offensive player pump fakes. Defensive player jumps straight up in the air, and then the offensive player goes horizontally into the defender. Then the foul gets called on the defender. We see it all the time. It's the NBA's got to look at that because it's not fair to the defender. Once the defender's in the air, there's not much they can do as far as moving out the way. Maybe a little bit, but not much. And once that offensive player jumps into you, the referees see it as a foul. It's and it's starting to get really, really ridiculous because the offensive player in that situation is always, always, always going to have the upper hand. Let me get to a phone call. Caller, you live. What's popping with you?
Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's. Nah, better yet, salute, salute, salute. 4 capital S's. This is the Sim Show. How y'all doing this evening? This is Jay Boogie, man. Shout out to y'all.
What's up with you, brother? How you feeling?
Man, I just want to tell you I appreciate you covering the draft. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here, moving a 3-truck move. You know what I'm saying? These people got 2 10-by-30 storages, and I missed the whole lottery and everything. But I was there as long as you was on the air, and I wanted to, let y'all know I appreciate you, what I'm saying, what you're doing, man.
Appreciate
Love and
you,
respect.
man.
But if it's me, I'm blowing everything up tonight. I ain't even going to play no games. Because we're going to draft one of them guys this year. But I'm going to take this number 19 pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take Kevin Knox. I'm going to take Mitch. And I'm going to trade that 32nd pick. But I'm going to keep that Dallas pick. And I'm going to trade it to Indiana. And tell them I already know y'all want to get rid of them. Give me Turner and give me Brogdon. And let's rock. And that's going to leave me enough space to go get some people like Gary Trent, Norman Powell, potential. Joe Jackson got a grandson out there. We don't know which one his son it is. Reggie Jackson is out there. I'm trying to hit a home run next year, man. I ain't trying to make playoffs. I'm trying to get up in that thing next year, man. I ain't playing with them, man. We only need 1 pick out of here. But Indiana, send them 2 players over here and let's rock, man. I just wanted to share that with y'all. That's where I'm at, man. God bless y'all. Y'all have a great evening, man.
Jay Boogie, be safe out there, my man. Please, be safe.
No
All
doubt,
right?
no doubt.
We appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate it. And I'm going to be talking to you soon. I'm going to reach out to you because I got a project that I'm working on, so I'm going to be reaching out to you.
Please do, man. It's about time
Yes,
for you
sir.
to send me that invitation, man. I ain't been up there yet,
I got you. We're going to get you up here next show. I got you.
Yeah, because you know you and Steph, you know what I'm saying? Y'all my two connections. If I rule the world, she know I call her Lauren Hill of the podcast, and you the Nas of the podcast.
All right. That's
you know
what I'm
saying?
talking
so I gotta
about.
be a part of that.
Let's get it. I got you. I'm gonna send you the information tonight.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up,
Let's
man.
get it.
I need that. God bless y'all, man.
I appreciate you, brother. Peace. So I'm looking
Boy
at
talks fast.
Jay Boogie. He gets it. He don't even take a breath. I don't know how he does it. I don't know. His cardiovascular is on point. I don't know how he does it. According to Agent Wojnarowski, he said the plan for presumptive number 1 overall pick Cade Cunningham will be to visit only one team prior to the NBA draft on July 29th, and that's the Detroit Pistons. So obviously he has no issues or problems with going to Detroit.
He should. You'll be the face of the franchise.
Yeah, because you know, automatically people start saying, "Oh, he's gonna want out of Detroit." You know, his face just dropped. He don't want to be in Detroit. That's not true. He wants to be there.
Cade's not that type of player. He's a very good guy that just wants to win.
He wants to be there. Just as long as Detroit doesn't mess it up like they did when they were supposed to draft Carmelo Anthony and they drafted, you know what I'm saying? Just as long as they don't, Darko, they drafted Darko. Just as long as they don't mess it up like they did back then, they'll be all right.
I'm going to throw this out. I'm going to throw this out there, and I know I'm going to get a lot of heat from it, but I'm just going to throw it out there. If there was any chance in hell that some team came out and said, hey, you know, we'd be willing to trade the top 3 pick, one of the top 3 picks, like where it's Cade, Mobley, or I don't know who the other guy is, Suggs.
Green or Kaminga. Don't forget about Kaminga.
Well, I think it's Suggs. I think it's Suggs, Mobley, and Cade are the top 3 in my opinion. I think Green's 4. If somebody said like, "Hey, we're willing to trade one of these top 3 picks," would you throw RJ Barrett in there?
Cade.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe Cade. For Cade.
Not
For
Suggs.
Cade. I mean, listen. The thing is this, and I say it all the time. You know, we look at players, and most of the time, your top 3 players, they're going to come in and they're going to do very well, right? But RJ Barrett is a known commodity. These guys are not. And you mess around, and you trade them for Jalen Suggs, and then Suggs comes in, and the NBA hits him, and he can't do it at the level that you thought he was going to do it. Now you just gave away RJ. You know what I mean? You know, these guys, they're not known commodities until they get to the NBA.
Yeah.
They're not known commodities.
That's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take to get one of those picks.
Yeah, probably so.
First rounders,
probably
RJ,
so.
you're going to have to throw all of them there to get that.
But let's put it like this. You're not getting Cade. So you're not getting Cade. Detroit's not giving up Cade Cunningham. They're not trading him unless the Pelicans were willing to trade Zion or something like that. Then maybe,
but Cleveland,
then they do.
Cleveland could listen.
But not for RJ. Not for RJ.
You don't think they would take RJ?
They might. I'm saying the Knicks.
Oh,
Right.
As far as trading RJ for anything other than Cade.
I mean, yeah, I get you.
Because who of these guys are surefire other than Cade? And even Cade, we've had number 1 draft picks that didn't show up, but I would put money that Cade is going to be a franchise player. Any of these other guys franchise players? I don't think so.
I think Suggs is, man. I'm gonna keep saying it till it happens. Suggs is gonna be a star player. I'm telling you.
But that's I mean that's great, but that's still all speculation because you haven't seen him step foot in the NBA. I mean, you haven't seen Cade step a foot in the
true.
NBA.
Yeah, I get you.
Right, and you just don't know.
I'm just saying.
You just don't know these guys.
If it's out there.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
But
you just don't know these guys you just don't know the mental makeup. And I'm not saying anybody has anything wrong with them, but you just don't know the mental makeup and what's going to happen when they get in the NBA and they play against NBA players. You know what I'm saying? And you know, they get out there and their heart starts beating. You just don't know what's going to happen. It happens to a lot of players that way. And I'm not saying it's going to happen to them. I'm just saying, you don't know. RJ, you know what you got. You see that he's growing. He's getting better. To me, if you're going to, the only way you trade RJ to me is if you're getting someone who was a bona fide, is 100% better than RJ and is 100% going to be better than RJ.
And that person would have to be in the league. I don't think he would be a draft pick.
Yeah. You know, it's got to be a known commodity for me. Again, ladies and gentlemen, the draft results. But tonight, the Pistons got the number 1 draft pick, followed by the Houston Rockets, the Cleveland Cavaliers at 3, the Raptors at 4, Orlando at 5, Oklahoma City Thunder at 6, the Golden State Warriors at 7, Orlando Magic at 8. So the Magic have the 5 and the 8 picks. Sacramento Kings at 9, the Pelicans at 10, the Hornets at 11, the Spurs at 12, the Pacers at 13, and then you got the Golden State Warriors at 14, and you got the Warriors have the 7th and the 14th pick. So when you're talking about teams that the Knicks could negotiate with, you're talking about Orlando, the Warriors, and I still think San Antonio was a team that the Knicks could talk to and possibly be able to pull off a trade. Let me get to a phone call here. Call you live. What's popping with you? Please tell me your name, where you're from.
Jose Aponte.
How you doing, Jose? How you feeling? Could you do me a favor? Can you turn that down in the back, please?
Turn down the me.
Yeah. You got the show on in the back. Can you turn that down some, please?
Oh, okay. Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing really good.
So tell me, man, what do you think the Knicks need to do? What are you looking forward to the Knicks doing during the draft? What's your draft plan for the Knicks?
Well, here's the thing. I'm thinking the route of parlaying these 2 of these 3 picks to and maybe a future pick, and just because we can go all in into getting established players this year. So my thing is, and I know a lot of people are going to say he's trash, but I think the Knicks should look at Colin Sexton. That's being reported, these trades with giving, maybe the 19 and the 32 and next year's pick. Colin Knox, if that can be done, I just like the fact that the guy comes in with a rookie contract.
Yeah, Colin Sexton. Thank you, Jose, for the call. I appreciate it. And he does come in with a rookie contract. But I'm not crazy about Colin Sexton. I don't know. What about you, Steph? I don't know. I'm just not crazy about Colin Sexton.
And I can't put my finger on it, right? I mean, he's fast. He can get to the basket. He's okay. I just don't see him. I can't put my finger on. But he's just not somebody when I watch that I get excited about, and I'm like, wow, this guy is good. I would love to see him on the Knicks. He just doesn't do it.
He's a bucket getter
for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I like him.
I see someone said Sexton or Fox. I would love De'Aaron Fox. I love the style of play that he brings to the table. I love De'Aaron Fox. I'm just not sold on Colin Sexton. Big shout out to T-Bone. He said, the Knicks will have a top 5 pick and Julius Randle will be a key in making that happen. I don't know. I mean, I don't see anybody giving up their top 5 pick for Julius Randle. I don't see that happening. Call you live. What's popping? Give me your name. Tell me where you're from.
DJ Shuttle, Long Island.
Hey, what's going on with you, my brother? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. Tapped in, excited. Lottery draft season. Best time of the year.
Yeah, man. No doubt about it. Fun time of the year. What's your plan for the Knicks? What do you think the Knicks should do? What do you think they will do?
I think that it's a smart administrative team, so there's really no telling what they could do. But kind of like looking things on the surface, I love the idea of trading with San Antonio. We know the Spurs is like the Patriots; they like to trade down, they like to acquire, assets and players. They like to, draft and stash as far back as Ginobili. So I could easily see a deal for 19 and 21, and maybe including a second round pick being enough to get that number 12. But I did like the idea of that of trying to put something together though, the package for Turner and traded Mitch. So I like that possibility too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I would love to have Turner, man. I would love to have Turner.
Turner's a beast, and he's a Tibbs type of player. He's aggressive, and I think he'll take him to the next level, and he'll be even better on defense and shot blocking than Mitch has been for these past couple of years.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there.
And one thing with these draft picks, like we already know Tibbs. I mean, there's one thing when you get a Derrick Rose, which is probably Cade is like the only guy that's that kind of level, but Tibbs is not like a guy that loves to have these young players. They already got a gang of young players on the team already. So, we don't need to be drafted 19 and 21. We got to use these assets and either get a better top-tier player in the draft or use them to trade for, a commodity that's already in the league.
Yeah. Who would you be targeting if you moved up to San Antonio? Who are you targeting?
All right. So at 12, I'm looking at assuming nothing happens at point guard in the in free agency. I'm going to be looking at a point guard. I know it might be kind of high, but I might be looking at Butler or Mitchell. I know that might be a little high for them right now, but I definitely be looking at them. And I also think Book Knight or Moody as a shooting guard. Those would be the players I'll be looking at.
You think they can get Mitchell at 12?
I think that there's a lot of talent, and I think there'll be the trades will happen. I think the draft will be unpredictable, but you got 5 surefire guys: Suggs, Mobley, Cunningham, Green, Kuminga. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would lock in. Those are going to be the top 5. After that, though, it's kind of unpredictable. So, Johnson, Barnes, those guys look like they'll probably go. And then after that, it might be Booty, it might be McKnight, it might be Butler, it might be Mitchell. So, I mean, it won't be far-fetched that they could be there. That one of those guys, I mean, those are 4 strong guys that would be perfect fits on the team. Right. So, I think there's a great shot that one of those 4 would be there.
Right. And here's one thing. For me, I just feel real good and confident of our front office and being able to make these deals and make something happen during the draft. And make smart decisions, not anything crazy, anything wild, smart decisions that's going to move the team forward. We couldn't always say that, but I think, and we've seen it last year, with the way they were able to maneuver, to try to get where they wanted to be in the draft, and we've seen them make a bevy of trades just with the draft picks. And, they came out of it, they drafted Emmanuel quickly, and they got 8 second-round picks in 2023.
Right.
So I feel confident in this front office.
It's definitely sharp. Definitely a sharp group. And listen, I know Obi wasn't spectacular, but I still like Obi, and he quickly, obviously, did better than people expected. He was drafted higher than a lot of people had him at, and he over exceeded expectations. So, that also leaves me confident that whoever the team takes, right, they're going to take somebody smart. It's going to make sense. It's going to be a good fit for the team. And, but I just don't need RJ, Obi, and, if Knox is still here, and then plus 2 more new guys from the first round. That I don't need. So right, whether you're trading up for a better top tier talent, or you trade these assets for somebody proven in the league, something's got to give, though.
Nah, I feel you 100% there. I do think that they're going to be looking to add pieces, not just young players. I think they're going to be looking to add pieces that are going to, move the team forward and can compete and contribute right now. And I think
as great as Randall was, we saw what happened when he went against a top tier team. It's like he absolutely needs some help,
Right.
And I wouldn't want to shoot him down for his performance. Instead, I would say, listen, he had a great season, and he just didn't have enough help against a team that was better prepared to defend him. So, you got to get some offense, you got to get some scoring, you got to get some help. And it's somebody that's proven. Tibbs is not going to want two new rookies coming in, depending on him. We got to get a proven player in here. Unless you get like one of those top 3 picks.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Last question: you see them doing anything with Randall?
I wouldn't outweigh anything. I wouldn't take anything off the table. You know what I'm saying? It would be the first All-Star that got traded. And with all the free agents that are available this year, I mean, I wouldn't expect it. I wouldn't look for it. I'm not shooting for that. But listen, if you're gonna get like a Damian Lillard or something crazy like that's gonna happen, you got Obi Toppin to give him a shot. You know what I mean? So, I doubt it, but. Listen, nothing's off the table, you heard?
Yeah, I feel you there, my man. Hey, I appreciate your call, bro. Appreciate your time.
DJ Shuttle, Strong Island, we here.
No doubt. Peace. Steph.
Sam.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Steph.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, do you see anything happening with Randall?
I don't. But I wouldn't be surprised, as the caller said, if it did. But I don't. I think that the what I'm seeing, I think the Knicks are seeing too, that the East, those top 3 teams, is not as locked in as we thought they were. Like there's room to kind of move up because they all have some sort of deficiency or some sort of holes. So they may be thinking that if we keep Randall, we build around him, we may be able to crack that. So I don't think so, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I think it's 50-50. I think the playoffs really exposed him. And like I said, I mean, you're about to pay him number 1 money to a second or third option on a really good team. So, I mean, are you going to allocate that kind of money to that guy? Do you feel like he is your franchise cornerstone right now? I mean, that remains to be seen. I mean, he does need help. There's no doubt about that. He can't do it all by himself. But is he a player that is going to take over a game when needed? That's my question. And right now, I mean, you could argue, yes, he is at times. But I was just really worried about the playoffs. He just looked like a deer in the headlights, and maybe that's the case. Maybe it was he just just was shell shocked with everything. But I mean, we got to get more help. I mean, RJ, I'm not sure about RJ. He fades away too much for me. Like I really need him to be more aggressive, and maybe that'll come.
And listen, Randall probably was a little bit shell shocked, and I think I'm pretty sure that the front office is looking and saying, let's see what he does. Let's see if he can come back a better player, and want to give him one more chance at the playoffs. I do want to remind everybody, and this I'm speaking specifically to my NBK members right now. If you have became a member, I want you to pay attention right now. Now, we have this draft party Thursday, July 29th at the Flagship Resort in Atlantic City. It's going to be dope. It's going to be fun. We've got, of course, the draft party with a live podcast. So we're going to have a bunch of our panelists that you frequently see on the panel. We're going to be there doing a live podcast. VIP members, you'll have a chance to get in a little bit early, hang out with all of the NBK content creators and all of that. So please make sure that you join us there. Tomorrow, the tickets will be on sale only for NBK members. Only for NBK members. Look, this who's going to be there. It's going to be, obviously, I'm going to be there. We got G-Mo, Die Hard Knicks, Tony Crow, Steph is going to be here. Julito is going to be there. All right. It's sponsored by the Fantasy Resorts. You got beer samples by 7 Mile Brewery. And check it. It's a free event. It's free after 8 p.m. But if you want to be a VIP, you can pay $25 for a ticket. You get early entry starting at 5 p.m. You'll be part of the exclusive live podcast, live taping, live games that's going to be going on. And you'll get a chance to network with the NBK fan content creators. There'll be a happy hour buffet. You'll get 1 beer draft. But there's also going to be beer samples from 7 Mile. So you'll have enough beer samples there. All right. My NBK members, please pay attention tomorrow afternoon. There'll be a post from YouTube, and it'll go out just for you, where you'll get a chance to buy your tickets to be a VIP for everybody else. They'll be there for about 2 days, and then we'll open it up to the general public. So please make sure you're there, ladies and gentlemen. One more time. It's going to be a draft party, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's at the flagship resort in Atlantic City. We got a host of NBK family content creators there. You can see them on the screen. Legion of Knicks, Die Hard, Knicks and Bruises, the Queen's Court. Julito's going to be there. Sponsored by the Fantasy Resorts. Beer samples by 7 Mile Brewery. Free entry after 8 p.m. But if you're a VIP member, or if you buy a VIP ticket, then you can get in at 5, and you get the happy hour buffet. There'll be a live podcast going on, a live taping, live games. You get a chance to network with the NBK fan content creators, get a draft beer and all of that. It's going to be real fun, real dope. So make sure you're looking out for that, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're looking out for it. It'll be out there tomorrow. Let me get to a couple more phone calls here. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Peace and love, Nick family. It's your boy Evergreen G from the South Bronx. What's going on?
What's going on, Evergreen? How you feeling, my brother?
I'm good, man. I had to call in. I had to call in and give my 2 cents on this whole trading up and moving all over the place. What are y'all talking about, man? What are we doing?
Right now, we're just looking at, man. We're looking at what are the Knicks going to do? What's their draft plan moving forward? That's what we're looking at.
All right, so what's the purpose of us getting Luka Vildoza? We're trying to address this point guard position, and I think we may have something special here. So what I'm doing with those draft picks, I'm moving draft picks to trying to get me a bona fide star, man. That's really it. And I'm a firm believer of the run backs. Obviously, Nerlens Noel outplayed his contract. Alec Burke outplayed his contract, so those two can go, and clearly Elfrid Payton can go. Maybe Reggie Bullock can come back, but I'm trying to get me a bona fide star. If Reggie Bullock leaves, maybe you give Kevin Knox a chance off the bench, but you get you a bona fide star. And I would even go so far as to look for a center in the draft, and let's see what this dude Luka's got, and run it with Luka, Derrick Rose, and find one point guard in the draft, one center in the draft, and run everybody else back. That's what I'm doing. I don't think we were far off of being able to compete. I mean, if we get past Atlanta, do we really have that bad of a problem against Philadelphia? Do we really have that bad of a problem against Milwaukee or Brooklyn with their health issues? And I'm not trying to imply that we winning a championship. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying, and you guys alluded to it earlier, the top 3 teams clearly weren't solidified. They clearly weren't solidified. With the exception of Milwaukee, the top 3 teams were not solidified. Mm-hmm. Right? Philly got bumped out. All right. Brooklyn got bumped out by health issues. That's a part of the game, and that obviously the organization didn't think about that. So if we got that number 4 seed, how much worse off were we than those other two teams that only made it one round further? So I think that we have something with this core. I cherish chemistry. I cherish chemistry. Like, a lot of people don't realize that bringing a whole bunch of new players into an organization, it calls for a lot of change. And when you have, a lot of these players that gelled with each other, that's not something that you really want to just lose. That's a coveted thing to have. From a team that was only projected to win 23 games to win 41, and it was off of sheer will and chemistry. That's something that you should put high value to. So I'm a firm believer of the salty run back. You bring back, you use maybe 2 draft picks. We allegedly have one of the best scouting departments in the league. So you bring back you actually draft 2 players, a project point guard, a project center. You keep Mitchell, you keep Norvell, you let Nerlens Noel go to where he wants to go. You let, because he outplayed his contract. You let Alec Burke go because he outplayed his contract, and you bring everybody else back except Elfrid Payton. You can shelf him, and let's see what this Luka Vildoza dude really got. Because
okay.
If we draft a point guard, it's still a project. Like, it's the same type of if we draft a point guard, we're at the low pick that we have in the middle of the pack. If we draft a point guard, we're still at the same point guard project that we would be with Luka Vildoza anyway. So why would we not give the Vildoza guy a chance and see what he's got?
But let me ask you this: run back to me the guys that you said to let go. Run that back to me.
The guys that let go is Peyton, Burks, and Noel. Those are the guys that you let go. Only reason you're letting go Noel and Alec Burke though is because they've outplayed their contract, right? Okay. And for us to potentially move up or make a big trade and pay a player, you're not going to have the money to be able to pay Noel and Burks. You're just not going to have the money to do that. Right, so that's what I'm saying. You package up those draft picks, and you move those draft picks to try to get you, somebody like a Terrence Ross. Maybe you dangle some picks at Chicago to try to get a Zach LaVine, and But I don't look at those Norvell. I don't look at Alec Burke. And I don't look at Nerlens Noel as guys that I'm willing to pay a boatload of money. So I'm not keeping those 2 for those reasons. Now, if we could offer them a contract around the same amount of money, which would be asinine for them to accept it, then again I'm doing that salty run back. So the only one, maybe 2 that's get them up out of here is Elfrid Payton. And Reggie Bullock, I feel like you can negotiate a cheap contract based off of his output, and you can still keep him. But unfortunately, Alec Burke and Nerlens Noel are 2 players that outplayed their contract, and I don't see us being able to retain them and still maintain a good amount of money without paying them a bunch of bread. So they can go get a center in the draft, right? Get a center in the draft and maybe a project point guard in the draft, because any point guard that we get is going to be a project anyway. And you get us a wing, you get us a bona fide scoring wing somewhere, whether it's Terrence Ross, Zach LaVine, or we dangle something at, Washington with all of our picks to try to get Bradley Beal or whatever the case is. That's what I'm doing. Now,
see with Bradley Beal. Obviously I like Bradley Beal, but you're giving up a lot. You're not just getting them with anything, right? I see. As long to me, I don't know about. I'm not counting Luka Vildoza out, right? But what's the backup plan in case he don't make it? In case he's not what you expect.
Again, that's when you're looking at. Either way, there's project point guards that need to be had within this draft. right? Like I look at it like this: any single draft that you come in, nobody is guaranteed to pop. Like that's just
True.
the nature of the draft.
Right.
Nobody is guaranteed to pop. So if you drafted Jalen Suggs, for example, and we got him, he's still a project too. Everybody in the draft is a project until proven otherwise. And I'm sorry, but the 60 players in the league that come in every year, none of those guys make it to all of those guys don't make it to being in 5 years in the league, let alone making it and becoming superstars. Those things come a dime a dozen, you know. So any project, anybody that you covet at the draft is a project. And the way I look at it is, if this front office was willing to pay Luka Vildoza, you know, on a 3-year deal with the first year guaranteed, and the rest of them, you know, trade clauses to get him up out of here in case he doesn't pop, then they clearly see some value for him because they paid him out of his contract in Argentina, right? So they clearly see some type of value in him, right? And there's clearly something there, but it's still a project. So regardless, unless we're going to trade for a point guard, which there's not many point guards on the menu right now for us to be able to feast on with these draft picks, then you're going to have to go back into the project bin anyway. So with that being said, you run it back because you know that there was only 3 teams in the league on the Eastern Conference that was better than you. Really 4 if you want to. I mean, obviously 4 if you count Atlanta. But there was really only 3 teams that made it above you that were clearly better than you, and those teams clearly have their issues. So I'm running it back. I'm getting some more chemistry, and I'm putting my money on Rose, Vildoza, and comboing it up with Quickly, and let's see what we get in the draft with a second round point guard and a second round center, and I'm running it back. That second round center is just insurance for Mitchell Robinson and Norvell Pell. I'm giving Norvell Pell a contract, and I'm letting him rock, and we still have enough money to make a big trade with some of these draft picks and get us a star wing to either to start or to move R.J. Barrett to the 3 and run a star wing at the 2, maybe like a C.J. McCollum. You throw some draft picks at Portland, and you get a C.J. McCollum in here. You run him at the 2. You run R.J. at the 3, Randall at the 4, Mitch at the 5. You know, something like that. You know, not saying that C.J. McCollum is the guy. I'm just simply saying, get us the star wing, a star bona fide scoring wing, and you run it back with the guys that we got on the defensive end and see what we can compete with. And we're still in that age timeline to where we don't have contracts that are expiring and a bunch of old guys on a team. We still have young talent to continue to develop, just like we did with Obi. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, these other teams they're gonna do some things to try to get better. So if we running it back, I mean, obviously, I know you're saying, let's see, the wing position. All right, you mentioned that. I still think we've got to, if we want to get better and improve and move forward, I think we got to get a bona fide point guard that we're not questioning. And I'm not saying anything about Luka Vildoza. He might come in and be nice, but I don't think you start off with saying, I mean, it's all going to depend on what he looks like in training camp, but right now you don't know what he looks like in training camp, right? So I think you say, listen, we're going to go out and get us a point guard, and then if he is the guy, we change course.
Yeah, but the issue with that is all the bona fide point guards that are currently in the league right now require a bag to get them. All of them. Like Kyle Lowry, he wants a bag. Damian Lillard, he requires a bag and a bunch of assets. De'Aaron Fox, I know there's some people in the chat throwing that name out there. He requires a bag because they just gave him a bag to get him. Colin Sexton, that's an option, but he's not a Tibbs guy, right? So other than even Ben Simmons, for all the people that are losing their mind about Ben Simmons, he has a bag right now, right? Those guys that are in the league right now, we essentially push the timeline. We got to be in a win now mode if we're going to give up a whole bunch of stuff and to get any of those bona fide point guards in the league. And I'm sorry, but I'm enjoying this cap flexibility that we have right now. And until you find that guy, that distraught superstar that's ready to say, you know what, I like what you got going on in New York, and I wanna go there, and he's ready to go, and he's a buyout market type of guy, you know what I mean, or that team's willing to get rid of him. I'm not willing to put my chips in on that bona fide point guard, because I don't think that this team as a whole is ready to take that next step into being the championship contenders. Like, I don't think getting a point guard guy right now that is bona fide is going to put us over a hump to get us in the championship, because we're going to lose all our assets. We're going to lose that bag. So I'm being very, very modest, and I'm being very calculated when it comes to slowly bringing this thing along so that we can be continual contenders and still maintain good contracts and good cap flexibility. You know, I don't want to not necessarily get fleeced, but I don't want to spend a whole bunch of money and then not have anything on the back end to be able to acquire one of those that superstar guy that's going to put us over the hump. This is the first time that we've been in a position where development can turn into key. You know, look at what it did for Obi Toppin. I'm sure we can continue to do that and continue on that development stage without spending a whole big bag on one of those superstars. Because then what happens? We get a superstar player like Damian Lillard who has that expectation that he gets traded. He wants to come and win a championship. We already saw what his comments were. And then what happens? We clearly aren't in that position to win a championship. And he's mad and he wants to go, and we just wasted 3 of his years because that's what he's got left on his contract. Right? So I'm not in that market for spending a whole bunch of money on a bona fide point guard, because I don't think we're nowhere near the position that we're going to be winning championships. Right? We're not far behind those top 3 teams that are competing. Clearly, the only reason Brooklyn didn't get too far was because of their injury history, but those are to be expected. But I want to at least continue to compete. This way, those teams looking and say, you know what, New York is in a position where we love what they're doing. We love the market. We love everything that New York has to do. I want to go there. Trade me there. And then we get our superstar, and boom. Now we're in the same exact position that Toronto was in, 3 years ago when they won their championship. Right? They got a Kawhi, and then boom, that was it. That was. Obviously they made a couple other small little moves here and there, but the bulk of their success came from that big trade. That big Kawhi trade, DeMar DeRozan trade, and boom, they were ready to go. So I don't think spending all that bread on a bona fide point guard right now is really worth it. It doesn't really put us over the hump with the current roster we have now. They aren't developed enough.
So, Steph, let me ask you, what do you think about what Evergreen just said about the point guard spot? And Evergreen, I'm going to let you go because I know I got some other calls coming in.
Peace, y'all. Salute to the chat. Salute to everybody in the chat.
Salute Evergreen.
We love y'all. Go Knicks.
All right.
Appreciate you, man. What do you think? What do you think about that point guard situation? I'm under the impression that in order for us to get better this next season, we need a point guard that is established. That's what I think. I feel like we need an established point guard. I don't want to take our chances on Luka Vildoza. And I'm not saying anything negative about Luka Vildoza. I just don't want to take my chances on Luka Vildoza.
I agree with you. I think we need an established point guard on this team. One thing I do agree with him on is I don't want to spend all my cap space on players and tie it up to the point that if a superstar or all NBA player comes along, we're strapped and there's nothing we can do. So I do agree with signing players that's gonna, make us better. We may not be championship contenders, but they do make us better. But you can't do like a 5-year contract on a player that now somebody comes loose and, we can't do anything about it. So I hope the Knicks do like 3-year contracts with a team option on that 3rd year that we can kind of get off of it if we need to. But to your point, If we don't do nothing else, we need a point guard.
Yeah, see, I agree. Nate, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think Vildoza could be a good backup for the Knicks. I think if anything, and this is just my opinion, if the Knicks cannot move up, because the only thing is, I think the Knicks are going to move up to get a point guard if they feel like there's a point guard up there they value, that they feel that could run the show and could be the point guard of the future. If they can't move up to get that point guard, I think they're okay with Vildoza being the backup and kind of learning behind a vet point guard, because the thing is, Tibbs wants a vet point guard. I mean, he's never really played. I mean, outside of Derrick Rose, he's never really played with young point guards. He's always played with a vet. And I mean, it's kind of tough because because I think Vildoza would make a good backup. So if you put Vildoza as a backup, I gotta say, man, I mean, unless you find another point guard that's a veteran, I mean, just re-sign Derrick Rose.
But see, I'm just asking, how do you know? We haven't seen anything from him against any kind of NBA competition.
No,
how do you know?
Right, but I'm not advocating to start him. I'm saying to be the backup, because
we don't even know if he could be that.
Right. I mean, you said you think he can be a good backup. How do we know that he can be a good backup?
I think he could because the fact is that. Huh?
Off of what? That's what I'm asking. Off of what?
Well, I mean, the fact is that this front office got him at the age he is. They have to see him at some kind of role in this team next year. So why wouldn't you put him as a backup point guard? Who's his competition?
Well, I'm going to say this. Right? Because I do understand what people say, they went and they got this guy, but I also want to say they also gave him a contract for 2020, 2021, but then a non-guaranteed contract for the next 2 years, 3 years, or whatever it is. Right?
I get what you're saying.
So,
I get what you're saying.
Yes, they gave him that, and part of the reason why they gave him the contract this season was so that they could help him pay to get out of his contract overseas, right?
Okay.
If they were sold on him, why didn't they just say, we're going to sign him for guaranteed money for the next 2 years? They gave him non-guaranteed money.
Oh, they're trying to be smart with the contract. They still want to see what this guy has. But the thing is, I go back to my question to you, is what other competition?
They're going to have to bring in competition.
Right.
Well,
they're going to have to bring in.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I mean, if you want to draft another point guard later on in the rounds to compete with Vildoza, that's fine. But it wouldn't surprise me if he was our backup behind Rose. I think at the end of the day, I don't think CP3's leaving Phoenix. I don't think that Damian Lillard's going to leave Portland. I think that the Knicks are just going to have to stay with Derrick Rose. Unless somebody else comes around, I think Derrick Rose is going to be their option. I mean,
if the Knicks are starting Rose at the point guard, I hope they make the playoffs. I just don't think Rose can play those minutes, and he harms your defenses as well. I just don't see him as a starting point guard in this league anymore. I just don't.
Well, I mean, he showed he can still play. I mean, he shows.
Oh, he can still.
Even if you load management him, I mean, he could still be effective. I mean, and if you've got two young point guards that are vying for the backup spot, I mean, that's going to give minutes. So that's going to take minutes away from Rose, which I think you'll be okay with, and he can still be effective. I mean, my question for every Knicks fan that wants to get a point guard: who are you going after? I mean,
I'll tell you, sure. I would look at Ball. Lonzo Ball, I would look at, right? He's a restricted free agent. I would look at him.
I don't think Ball's leaving the Pelicans, but okay.
He's a restricted free agent. You asked me who would I look at? I would look at Ball. Okay. I would look at Schroeder. I'm not saying I'm that high on him, but I would look at him. I would feel more comfortable going into the season with Schroeder at the point guard than I would with Rose at the point guard being backed up by somebody in the draft.
Schroeder was terrible in the playoffs. Why was
terrible in the playoffs, and so was one of the things I want to say about people who look terrible on other teams doesn't mean they're going to be terrible on your team. And if a player has a bad playoff, doesn't mean the next playoff is going to be bad. Randall was bad in the playoffs. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be terrible in the playoff coming back. I would look at Spencer Dinwiddie coming off an injury on a good contract than I would starting Rose. I think if we start in Rose at point guard, we in trouble. That's just my.
No, I'm okay with Dimwit. I mean, honestly, like, you know, if he's healthy and the medicals check out, I mean, yeah, the guy can score. I mean, he could definitely play the point guard position, no doubt about that, and that would be definitely an upgrade over what we had. I mean, it's just a matter of how much you're going to pay these guys. I mean, you talk about Ball. I mean, what is Ball going to demand? What is he going to, you know, what is his contract going to look like? Are you really going to throw that kind of money at a guy who still has a spotty shot? I mean, yeah, he's improved it, but I mean, he's still got a spotty shot. And, you know, here we talk about the Knicks not having shooters or consistent people that can knock down shots.
But this is what I will. Oh, I'm sorry. This is what I will say about it. It may be spotty, but if you look at his numbers, they are trending up.
Yeah.
His free throw percentage is trending up. His 3-point percentage is trending up. You never know. Maybe once he gets here and he plays under Tibbs, maybe he takes off. He's an ascending player.
It's possible. I mean, yeah. I mean, I just like what I saw in Derrick Rose. I thought Derrick Rose. I mean, this was the best Derrick Rose I've seen play in probably 8 or 9 years. I mean,
I agree with that.
You know, and I mean, I'd love to bring him back, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Knicks point guard situation is just crazy right now. I mean,
I agree. I just think Derrick Rose is going to be best coming off the bench. Okay. I think you need a bona fide starting point guard, and not to say that Derrick Rose can't start for you. You know, when you need, you know, if your starting point guard is out for whatever reason. I just think he's going to be better suited for any team in the NBA coming off the bench, you know, because his knees are not as strong.
Right.
Just put it that simple. His knees are not that strong. No, I mean, when you look at it this year, we're looking at a Derrick Rose that came and played for us. He didn't play for Detroit for most of the first half of the season.
Right.
So he was kind of fresh when he came to play for us. Now, let's say he played 35 games in the first half of the season for us. Are we sure he gives us the same production in the second half of the season?
Who knows?
We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because he played, he only played, what did he play? 30-something games this year? Mm-hmm. Right? So I think you got to take that into question. Let me get to the super chat.
Okay, go ahead.
Josh, and of course, you know, Josh does it only as Josh can do. You know, he's gonna leave or take care, but he's not gonna come on and talk about it on the chat. But he said the Knicks have had cap flexibility the last 4 years. Once again, Ben Simmons doesn't get you over the hump, but he would be a huge piece. If not him, then fine. At least quit shopping at the 99-cent store. It's Josh. We talked about this last night.
And I didn't get a chance, so go Sam and then give me an opportunity.
Okay. Perfect. We talked about this last night, Uncle Fulio. Emphasis on fool. Okay, Ben Simmons. Listen, Ben Simmons is good. I have no problems with Ben Simmons. I have a problem with his contract because I feel like we can get good enough. I feel like we can get a player that does the same thing that Ben Simmons is going to do for much less money and leave our contract situation open to sign other players that's going to make our team better. Like I said last night, you said, does signing Lonzo Ball make you better than signing Ben Simmons? You know what? I'm going to say, yeah. You know why? Because I don't have to give up. I don't have to trade any draft picks. I don't have to trade any players. I can sign Lonzo Ball, keep my draft picks, and I can sign another player. For the $35 million that we would pay Ben Simmons, we could probably sign Lonzo Ball and maybe Kelly Oubre or another small forward. that is going to make your team better, in my opinion. Instead of giving up $35 million for Ben Simmons, plus whatever draft picks you got to give up and players, possibly. I just don't think that's worth it. I just don't think it's worth it. You know what I mean? So, Steph, I'll let you go ahead and talk to Uncle Fulio.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of stole my my thunder. This is what I will say to Josh, my brother. I agree with you, and I've said this. The Knicks are not going to become championship tenders until they get an all-star or NBA player to play with Randall. All of these other guys we're talking about will make the Knicks better, but I don't think it puts them in that standard, right? However, those players are not out there, right? And Simmons is definitely not one of those players. Look, I've said this before. No. If you listen to my show the last time, and this was in regard to Randall, but it applies to Simmons, you cannot tie up that much cap money in a player who is one-dimensional, right? Because now you got to go out and get somebody that can do what he's not doing, and that money is tied up in him. Ben Simmons is an elite defender. He's a good playmaker. He can get to the rim, but you can't have $34 million tied up in a player who not only can't shoot, but won't shoot. Sometimes to me, he just seems defiant. Like, I'm just not going to shoot the ball. That's not what I do. And I remember an article one time that he was upset, something with the front office. They wanted him to shoot more, and he was like very upset about it. And the next game, he didn't take no shots at all. In other words, that's not what I do. Don't ask me to do. His free throw shooting has not improved. His shooting hasn't improved. So Joshua is telling me, said in the chat about Simmons, Ball. At least with Ball, you can see an uptick in his free throw shooting, an uptick in his percentages. With Simmons, I don't see that, right? So to me, he's not on the rise. He is what he is because he's determined that this is just who he's going to be. So no, I'm not tying up my money in him. I get it. We need an all-star caliber player. I agree. But Ben Simmons is not it, in my opinion. You can't even keep him on the floor at the end of the game.
Yeah, and
negative. No.
And I second that. Ben Simmons wasn't even the second best player on his own team. Steph Curry was. I mean, the reality is, I wouldn't want anything to do with Ben Simmons.
You said who was the second best player on the team? What about Tobias Harris? Not Seth Curry.
I mean, well, Seth Curry is balling out too, but I guess Tobias Harris. But my point is that Ben Simmons should be your second best player, and he's not. So he's probably your third or fourth best player because the others can shoot. So my thing is, I want nothing to do with Ben Simmons. I don't want the Knicks to even look at Ben Simmons. My thing is with the Knicks is I don't want to overpay for a point guard who, quite frankly, is still questionable or still has a lot of question marks, in my opinion. Like Ball, I'm going to still question his shooting. Yeah, it's getting better, but I'm still going to question the shooting. He's still got a whack shot, and I mean, who knows? He could have another season where it just doesn't go in. It just happens that way. It just I think. So
how long does it take before you have confidence in the shot? The last 2 seasons, he shot 38% from the 3-point line. How long is it going to take you to trust his shot?
Let me see one more season. I'll give it 3 years. Let me see if it's been consistent for 3 years.
Same thing on Randall?
I mean, I don't know. Huh?
Same thing on Randall? Are you trusting a Randall shot?
Randall? Yeah. Oh, hell no. I need to see Randall for another 2 years. I mean, because, Randall was never a shooter. I mean, he had a really good season where he shot well. But I need to see that consistently next year, too, and the year after that. You know, and that's another thing, too, is that people need to wonder about Randall. Like, he had a fantastic season, but can he continue that? That's the question. You're going to pay this guy. You're going to give him money.
Right. That's the question. Can he continue that? Let me get to this phone call. Yeah. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Sam.
Hey, D, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, my brother. I was feeling better before I heard some of this take here, so I had to call in. I haven't hopped on the show with you for a minute.
So what are your plans? What do we do?
Well, am I to understand from what I heard that Derrick Rose should be thought of as and when we say starting point guard, we mean the point guard who plays the bulk of the minutes, correct?
Correct. Well, I mean, I guess, yeah.
Right?
I guess that's who. Yeah.
Then I think I heard Evergreen who wants to run it back. Is that what I heard Evergreen say?
That's what you heard.
Back?
That's what you heard. Well, he said he wanted, get rid of Elfrid Payton, get rid of Burks, Nerlens Noel, replace those players, and then run it back.
I don't understand some of our fans, and this is no disrespect to none of these fans and so forth, but how are we supposed to get better if we are afraid to make moves? I don't understand that. How are we if we've learned nothing from Brooklyn was that what a star can do for you in 2 games can get you 100 points and fight down to the last second, and if it wasn't for a quarter inch of a toe because he put on his shoes that was too big, they were moving on. Like, come on, people, come on, man, come on. We better than this. We better than this, Knicks fans. With our analysis, we can't be afraid of our own shadow. Like, what is this? We're talking about. Ben Simmons, you really want to go down a Ben Simmons rabbit hole right now to rehabilitate him?
Talk to Uncle Fulio. Uncle Fulio, that's Uncle Fulio's guy. Talk to Uncle Fulio.
I was arguing with Freezy and them I told Freezy, 24 hours ago you woke up with Ben Simmons. 24 hours later you came back doubling down with this. Like, why would we want to waste time? And I'm not killing the kid because he's a talented young man. I like the young guy, but watching him not go for that dunk on a 5'11" Trae Young, it just if 93 and Charles Smith gives us Ajita, that right there, if I was a Philly fan, I would have lost it. I would have absolutely lost
it. They did. I don't know if you've seen some of the videos that route, but some of them fans lost it. They went crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's and this is no knock on the kid. Like I said, he probably just needs to rededicate and so forth, but not here. You know what I mean? Like, not here. For me, as far as draft-wise, because I know we're talking about drafting stuff, I saw a young man with Baylor, I think his name is Jared Butler, or something to that effect. One of these upperclassmen that I think that we should be looking at if we draft 1 or 2. A serviceable upperclassman that could come in and be a part of this.
So you're looking for somebody, and I think the Knicks too are looking for players that are going to be able to produce right now. I don't think they're looking at players that they need. Maybe one, depending on how many draft picks how many players they draft, right? Because they got 4 picks overall. If they don't trade up,
guys you sign afterwards in the free agent pool, kids, guys that you sign from there, and then you could put them, but. Just overall, it's like some of the things I'm hearing, like, guys, come on. Like, we're not trying to win? What are we trying to do?
Well, I'm trying to win. You already know that. I'm trying to win.
Right.
I'm trying to win. I'm just selective on who I want to win, who I think helps us to win.
Right.
But I want you to talk to Uncle Julio because he's on the Ben Simmons train.
Would you think about Spencer Dinwiddie?
Yes, I would.
I like Spencer.
Yeah, I think about Spencer Dinwiddie because I think he's going to be a value. I think he's going to be a value.
Okay. So there's pieces out there that you can either trade for, sign and trade, sign outright, but you got to be in the game. You know what I'm saying? Just run it back. I'm here, like, bringing some of these guys back, like, But anyway, family, you know what it is. I'm here listening. I'm still tuning into my brother. I'm gonna come out there on the 29th.
Okay. All right, looking forward to it, man. We're looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Absolutely, my brother.
All right.
Panelists, peace to the panel.
All right, peace, bro. Peace. All right. Here we go. We got Uncle Fulio in the building. Emphasis on
controversy.
Fulio. Here he is. Emphasis on Fulio. What's going on, Josh? Talk to us.
Salute, guys. I was watching the show. Listen, I know me and Sim spoke about this at depth last night, but I just have to reiterate, Ben Simmons doesn't get you over the hump. None of these players that we're talking about, Damian Lillard, he doesn't get you over the hump, but they get you closer. And the thing that I want to make sure everyone understands is Philly still had a chance to win the championship this year with Ben Simmons. It went to a Game 7, and they obviously didn't get it done in Game 7. Ben Simmons didn't show up. I totally understand that. But outside of all of that, Philadelphia is still a championship contender. So it takes a lot to win a championship. You can't just bring in all of these players and then expect to win all the time. Even Brooklyn, anything short of a big three, and even Brooklyn, that had a big three. They had some injuries. They couldn't get to an NBA Finals. It takes so much to get there. Ben Simmons will be a major piece. And I know people are worried about—
At what position?
Hold on. Not at the point guard. I don't want Ben Simmons to play point guard. I think he's a slashing wing/guard type of player. You're still going to have to add some pieces. But people, they don't want to, they're saying, he makes too much money. I don't want to tie up all that money into one player.
It's not about the money. It's not about just the money.
It's
not about just the money. It's not about just the money.
I think he fits the money. This kid is a 3-time All-Star at 24 years old, All-NBA. You're not finding any other NBA players out there that can play All-NBA defense.
But it's also, Josh, it's also probably 3 or 4 draft picks and a player or two. So it's not just the money.
What if it's not 3 or 4 draft picks? And you said it yourself, the Knicks have all the draft capital in the world.
I know, but not to use on Ben Simmons.
Okay, so what's your proposal to get Simmons?
To me, I think his draft stock is not draft stock. His trade value is at an all-time low because of everything that people are saying. But at the same time, I kind of don't think it is because there's a lot of teams that want his services. Brian Windhorst reported today on ESPN. He thinks it's going to be up to 12 teams that want his services.
It can happen.
So hold on. But my thing is, the Knicks are all of a sudden going to be smarter than the other 12 teams.
Right.
A lot of teams want his services, and they want to pay him. They want to pay him $35 million because they know what he can do on the floor.
Who are these teams?
I don't know, but the reporter,
right?
ESPN that's been around the league. He knows that. He's been around the league. He would know better than I can. Anybody else can.
I'm sure.
People are saying Ben Simmons can't score. This guy is one of the, as far as percentages concerned,
shoot. Not score.
Okay,
shoot.
Okay, I understand. He can't shoot. I totally get that. But
he refuses to shoot.
But he does everything else at an all NBA level. He doesn't.
He doesn't shoot at an all NBA level. He doesn't hit free throws at an all NBA level.
That's shooting. But that's shooting though. That is still shooting. That's a jump shot or.
Okay.
But he shot 30-something% from the free throw line in the playoffs.
30.
I understand that. Listen, I totally get that. And
he's a defensive player, Josh. He's a defensive player.
He can also rebound. He can also slash, and he can also pass at an all NBA level. That's why
he rebounds at an all NBA level.
When he had
for a guard and wing, absolutely.
He's 6'10".
Oh, okay, so that's a detriment now.
Yeah, he's 6'10".
So you're gonna use that against him?
He should rebound. He should get 7 rebounds a game. He's 6'10".
All right, so what is wrong with that, though? What's wrong with that?
No, what I'm saying, you're saying...
Right, that has some.
Yeah, you're saying as an all-NBA level, I'm saying he's 6'10". He's supposed to get 7 rebounds.
But that's a good thing, Sam. That's a great thing.
Lonzo Ball 6'6" and gets 5 or 6 rebounds.
Okay, so...
At a guard spot. At 6'6".
Okay, so Lonzo Ball does that well. Okay, fine. What else does Lonzo Ball do tremendously well?
He shoots it at 38%, better than Ben Simmons.
Okay, but he's a better shooter. Okay,
he also averages 14 points a game, like Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons is also shooting 60% from the field. 60.
Because more of his shots come at the basket.
But there's nothing wrong with that, Sim. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with that.
I know, but what I'm saying, when you're saying he's shooting 60% from the field, it's not like he's shooting mid-range jump shots and shooting 60% from the field. They're coming at the basket. The shooting is still a liability that teams are going to capitalize on.
I get that. I keep reiterating.
If the money was lower, maybe. If the money was like $20 million, Josh, you cannot tie up $35 million in your cap for a player that cannot shoot. You cannot play him down the stretch. They foul him. So he's a good defensive player that you can't play down the stretch because he can't hit free throws. How does that help you defensively?
Okay, but hold on. Giannis was able to improve his free throw shooting.
But that's the other point. This is the point. He hasn't. That's the problem, Josh. If I would have saw each year his free throw percentage getting better, his field goal percentage getting better. He couldn't shoot, but now he's extending his range. It's the same. He's not shooting a 2, he's not shooting a 3, and he's still a poor free throw shooter. There's no improvement.
He is shooting the 2, though. He's shooting the 2 at a 60% clip every single season.
No. It's talking about jump shots. Talk about jump shots, not layups. He's not shooting the 2 other than layups or the 3 or free throws. And that's what concerns me, is that he hasn't improved. So that tells me, what are you working on? Like, what are you doing?
Okay, so let me just say this, and let me say this one more time. Ben Simmons is not the end-all, be-all. You're still going to have to add pieces. But my thing...
If he's taking up $35 million.
That's the majority.
Problem.
That's not all of the cap. That's not all the cap.
No, it's not, but it's a large portion of the cap.
It's too much of a percentage of a cap for what he does.
Steph, let me get him because this is the same issue.
So did Philadelphia have a chance to win a championship this year?
Let me jump in right here.
And they didn't because of him.
Let me jump in right here.
Reasons.
Philadelphia was fully healthy. Am I lying?
They were.
No.
They were. Right? Fully healthy. And they couldn't get past the Atlanta Hawks, who weren't even fully healthy. A key player in DeAndre Hunter was out. And they still did not get past the Atlanta Hawks with a fully healthy team. So you can say they're a contender, but are they?
Yes, they are.
No, they weren't.
It takes a lot to win a championship, Tim.
I know. But with Ben Simmons and a team that they have that's fully healthy, and they are cap struck partly because of Ben Simmons.
Right.
But it's hard for them to add other players. I mean, you're looking at a team that next year could go out in the second round again.
And they can also win a championship next year.
I don't think so.
No, they cannot win a championship next year.
They were exposed.
I don't think so, because they're probably not beating Brooklyn or Milwaukee and maybe even Atlanta next year.
They're probably not beating Brooklyn after Brooklyn just lost in the Game 7.
Hey, what's been your excuse all along?
For Brooklyn.
What? Okay then.
Every team can have injuries, though. That's what I'm saying. Any team can have injuries. You telling me that Ben Simmons?
But what I'm saying is, I do not think Philadelphia is good enough. They're good, but I don't think they're good enough. And Ben Simmons is a big part of the issue.
Right.
Tim, here's the issue, right? Ben Simmons commands $35 million. We only have 6 players currently on the team right now. We have a total of $60 million that we need to spend in cap for this year in order to meet at the cap. So that means we have $30 million left, and we only have 6 players. That means we're going to do just what Philly did, and we're going to have a whole bunch of journeymen that are making under $2 million a year, which means that Ben Simmons is the highest paid player on the team, which means he's the number 1 option. So does that mean Ben Simmons is now the number 1 option on the New York Knicks?
That's a flawed rhetoric. Okay.
No, it's not. It's not.
No, it is. I'll tell you why.
I mean, I don't think he'd have to be the number 1 option.
Here's why it's not, right? You had Joel Embiid, who on Philly, who's making $25 million, $27 million, $33 million, $39 million, or something like that. Just an increase in contract. Tobias Harris, same exact thing. Before they got rid of Al Horford, same exact thing. Who was the number 1 option? The guy that was making the most amount of money on the team, Joel Embiid. So now you're going to bring Ben Simmons over here with the highest paid contract currently on the team right now. Is just so happen to be Julius Randle making $19 million next season, who's due for an extension. And Ben Simmons is making $35 million. $35 million.
Well,
I mean,
if you look at Phoenix, Devin Booker is the number one option, and Chris Paul makes the most money on that team. So just because you make the most money does not mean you're the number one option.
I agree with that because I don't think Ben Simmons would want to be the number one option.
And that's my problem. That's my problem.
Here's my thing. So you're not going to give Ben Simmons $35 million, right? Who would you give that money to? And if you give that money to a player, let's say Damian Lillard, for example, does Damian Lillard take us to an NBA Finals?
And
if not Lillard, who does?
Let me tell you what Josh does. What Josh does is he gives you an option, but he gives you his option, right? Again, my option, I already said it. I'm not looking to get a bona fide point guard because it's going to stricken us cap wise. So I'm looking. Somebody said it earlier. We talked about Ball. We talked about Spencer Dinwiddie, right? We talked about players. I don't think this team is ready to win a championship next season.
They don't have to be.
You don't have to be.
I don't think they have to be.
Again, you're taking a step. But Ben Simmons is the step? That's what we're saying?
No,
that's what Josh is saying.
But that's what I'm saying. The guy that averaged 10 points in this series.
He's an all-star, though. He's an all-star player. How much did Julius Randle average? You want to pay Julius Randle? How much did he average in the playoffs?
We want to pay him just the 116, not the 200. I'm not paying him 200.
One at a time. I know we excited. I know Josh is excited.
What did Julius Randle average in the playoffs? He averaged double the amount of points that Ben Simmons averaged.
He still was trash.
He did.
So
yes, I agree there. But listen, and it's so crazy. This is coming from Josh, the one guy that's been complaining that we need shooting. 2 years in a row has clamored for non-shooting players. You wanted Russell Westbrook last season, and that guy can't shoot a lick. And now you want Ben Simmons, who not only can't shoot, but
those players get you closer.
But not at that. You're right, but not at that price. Not at $35 million.
Price.
Not at that. Because
you gotta pay somebody the money.
You do have to pay somebody, and I agree with you. I want us to go out and get an all-star or NBA type player, and I don't mind paying the money. But Ben Simmons is just not my pick. But I don't mind spending the money, but Ben Simmons is not the pick. Not the pick.
Ben Simmons. I think he's a 24 years old. He can only go.
But he's not going up, Josh. He's not improving, and he had the same problem in college. He couldn't shoot free throws in college, and he's come here, and it's the same thing. He's not improving.
For Christ's sake. Ben Simmons' first 3 of his career was against the Knicks this season. Does that sound crazy? Last season against the Knicks last season. That doesn't sound crazy to you? That doesn't sound asinine.
Maybe he needs a right coach to just light a finder's ass to shoot.
They're centers.
They tried to do that. They encouraged him to shoot. He's defiant, in my opinion. Like, I'm just not going to do it.
To me, I don't think his game is about three-point shooting. We're trying to make him into something that I don't think he is. But if he's not that, he does everything else at an all NBA level.
If you're not that, then you can't get $35 million.
All right.
That's all
so
I'm
look at it like this. He's a point guard. He's a point guard that can't shoot, don't shoot, can't stop, won't stop. Rockefeller records, right? He's a point guard that doesn't do it. Okay, so is he a power forward?
I think he's a wing. I think he's a wing that can defend all 5 positions. Got it. A lot of teams don't have that.
Name me a wing that he shoots better than.
A wing that he shoots better than?
Name me a wing. Okay. Okay, so I'd rather give that guy you can't name money than give Ben Simmons that money.
Got to be able to shoot.
Got to be able to shoot. Aren't we talking about a shooting league right now? Aren't we talking about
That's the problem the Knicks had. They had 2 positions where there was no shooting or scoring.
Right. And my big thing with Ben Simmons, I think he's an all-star player, and I do think that he would change. He's a game changer. I do think that. I think he's a game changer. But I don't think he changes the game so much that you're giving up 2 or 3 draft picks, maybe a player or 2, and $35 million for the next 4 years. I don't think he's that. I don't think. I don't think he's that.
Because you can load up on him in the playoffs. Those type of guys, you could take them out of a series.
And also, too, y'all forget, too, the spacing. You got two guys that are going to clog the paint. I mean, what's that going to do for your offense?
Well, the thing is, if you got Ben Simmons on your team, you can only afford to have one guy that can't shoot threes. And I don't even know if you can afford to have that anymore. But if you're going to have any, you can only afford to have one guy in your lineup that can't shoot. So that means you got to go get a center that can spread the floor, which we don't have, and Mitch or Nerlens Noel. Then obviously a point guard that can spread the floor.
My thing is, I think a lot of people think that, okay, yeah, Ben Simmons, he does make $35 million, but $35 million will not cap strap this Knicks team. They have a lot of cap space, and they have assets where they can be able to move. They have the assets.
So check it.
I agree with you, Josh. I just don't want to use it on Ben. That's all I'm saying.
I got you. And we agree to disagree on that. But my thing is, people have this confusion saying they don't want to give $35 million, not just because it's Ben Simmons, but they don't want to pay that money to anyone of all NBA caliber. And my thing is, for this Knicks team, in order for them to get better, they have to spend that money. Of course. And my thing is, if you spend that money, $35 million, you can still make some other moves after that. Ben Simmons is not going to be the end-all be-all. Just like Damian Lillard won't, or any other all-NBA player. You still have to add other pieces and make it all work.
But it's got to be the right move for the right player. You got to be the right move for the right player, because you're talking about Ben Simmons. They say the Knicks traded for Ben Simmons and they had to give up 2 draft picks. Maybe they didn't have to give up players. Maybe they just had to give up 2 draft picks. But if they don't give up players, that means that $35 million is eating some of that $57 million in cap space. Right? Now you got $22 million in cap space that you still, you got $22 million that you got to fill your center position. Now you got to get a center that can shoot threes, your point guard position, and you still got to fill out your bench. $22 million to do that. So, hold up. Wait. 1 second. Yep. Now, let's say you do trade. Let's say you do trade players. What players you trading for? Because let's say you want to trade players so that it doesn't eat up so much of your cap space, so you got more cap space. What players you trading for?
We only got 6 players, by the way.
Who you giving up?
No.
Who you giving up?
Here's my thing, Sam. Here's my question. I have a counter question to that. How come teams like Brooklyn? How come teams like LA? How come teams like the Warriors? How come teams like the Celtics, when they got the big 3? How come all those other teams are able to make it work with the money and compete in the playoffs?
Can I answer that?
Be really good in the playoffs, but we can't.
Please go ahead, Steph. Go ahead, Steph.
Okay. All of those guys had bona fide all-star, all-NBA players. So they didn't need that much behind them.
Thank you.
You could get somebody off the street damn near and put it with them guys. So you didn't need high-powered players on the bench. You could get cheaper players to fill it in because those guys were money. Ben Simmons and Randall, you got your money spent up in them, you're going to need a whole lot.
Exactly.
Because I get that, but what's stopping the Knicks from cutting ties with Randall and going after someone else?
That's fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
Simmons.
You're talking about Simmons right now.
Yeah, we can do that. That's a whole other discussion.
But in Philadelphia, he was one of the players that makes the most money, like Evergreen was talking about. That's also a part of the young core that makes them compete in the playoffs. So my question is, how come all those other teams are able to compete and be really good during the regular season and compete in the playoffs? These guys were one lucky bounce away from going to the NBA Finals a couple years ago. How come those teams are able to do that, and us as Knicks fans, we don't want that?
Because it's about we do. It's about the play. It's about the players that they picked up.
It's about
they didn't pick up Ben Simmons.
Not only that, Philly tanked for 3,000 years, and they got.
So did we.
Hold on. Philly tanked for 3,000 years. And they got Ben Simmons in the draft. They got Joel Embiid in the draft. They did a sign for Tobias Harris, right? They had those players out of the draft. We have drafted like trash for the same amount of time that Philly was trash.
Okay.
They just so happen to come out of that and were able to sign these players to their extensions, and they were able to compete. It's not like they traded for Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. They had them and groomed them and were able to
so
keep them on that contract.
So you're assuming that the Knicks are going to continue to draft poorly over the next couple of years?
No. I'm actually assuming that the Knicks are going to draft great, which is why.
And do the same thing what Philly did.
What do you mean?
Okay, but they didn't trade for Tobias Harris. They signed him.
No, I understand what you're saying, but you're saying what Philly did. Philly drafted those guys. They drafted the Ben Simmons, they drafted the Joel Embiid, and they were able to go out and sign a player like Tobias Harris. What I'm saying,
they were on rookie contracts.
Right, and then they signed for big money. So what I'm saying is, what's stopping the Knicks from doing that?
But Josh,
cutting ties with
No,
Randall.
hold up, Josh. Yeah, you switching it. You switching it.
You switching it.
I did what I was going by with Evergreen, his logic. That's what I'm saying. I was going by what Evergreen was saying.
The logic that you're making a comparison with Philadelphia, it completely does not
the
apply
Lakers
to the
and the Celtics,
because we're not in that position. It doesn't apply to us.
So let me go back to your logic, Josh. Let me go back to your logic. Let me go back to your logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said the Celtics, the Lakers, the Nets.
Back when they got the big three. Back when they got the big three.
Right.
Big three teams.
Right.
Yeah.
So look who they got.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Garnett.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like Paul Pierce. I mean, they already had Paul Pierce. Bona fide Hall of Fame guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Who the Lakers get? LeBron. Anthony Davis. Who the Nets get? KD, Kyrie, James Harden. Ben Simmons is not those guys. As a matter of fact, every one of those guys got a damn jump shot. Every one of them got a damn jump shot. Ben Simmons is not those guys.
Sim, that's fine. I'm talking about teams with a bona fide big three that compete, right? Philadelphia was competing. They've been deep in the playoffs the last 3 years with Ben Simmons on that team as a core piece. They compete for a championship. They were one lucky shot away from going to the finals. If they win the finals that year, this is a different conversation.
We get it. But they didn't. The fact is they didn't.
And Ben Simmons is an all-NBA player. He made the all-NBA team before Randall did.
So what?
Okay.
He's just
it doesn't mean he doesn't have deficiencies.
He does.
If you got Randall and Ben Simmons, you cannot put a team around them that's going to be able to compete because they've taken up too much of your cap and they're not that good. They're not.
24.
Listen, you can make an all-NBA team and not be an all-NBA player. You can just have an all-NBA season.
That's very true. That's very true. But I feel like as Knicks fans, we'll never know because we don't want to spend the money.
No,
I just don't think it's not that.
But Simmons is not moving the needle for me.
I just don't think, especially when you gotta move. You gotta move your draft picks. You talk about you gotta add more players around Simmons. Well, guess what? One of the ways you're gonna do that is by making trades. And if you're giving up your draft picks to get Simmons, then you're not gonna be getting anybody else.
The Knicks have a ton of draft capital, though, Sam. They have a ton of draft capital.
They got. If you trade your first round pick this year, if they do it before they draft that player, obviously things change. If they do it before they draft their player, then that means they can't trade their 22 draft pick. Now, if they trade the draft pick after they draft the player, now you're trading the player. You're not trading the pick. You can trade your 22. If you trade your 22, you can't trade your first round 23.
Right, but that's where the Dallas picks come in handy. That's why they offset those picks. That's why the Dallas picks are so important.
Well,
we can trade the Dallas picks and still keep our own.
You can, but you're probably trading both of them.
Both of the Dallas picks?
You're probably trading both of the Dallas and your pick this year.
Okay, we still have a first-round pick next year, and we still have another first-round pick after that. We still have our own picks.
What picks are you trading and what players are you trading? Because it's going to cost picks and trade players. What picks and what players are you trading out of the 6 players that we have currently on this roster in order to get Ben Simmons?
So here's my thing. I think those Dallas picks are important. I think that's why the Knicks have so much draft capital because of those 2 picks specifically.
That's true.
Being that they offset, being that there's a space in between the years, right? So I believe those 2 picks have to be on the table or our own in those years or whatever. Because if you trade those, you still have your own first round picks. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, you talk about
how many of them though? How many of those?
We only got 2 of those Dallas picks. So let's say the 2
one
Dallas
of the picks we may not get.
Right. Okay.
It all depends on what happens. It could turn into a second round pick sometime in the future. So, because it's protected.
Right. Exactly. But in a perfect world, let's say those 2 picks are available. We give up those 2 picks and then you give up our pick in between. You still have your own first round pick from this year, You don't have a first round pick next year, and you still have another first round pick after that, plus the plethora of second round picks the next season. You still have that.
Yep. They traded him for just picks, though.
Well, I was about to get to that. So we talk about the spacing and not having enough shooters on the floor because whatever. I think in a trade for Ben Simmons, RJ Barrett, you have to at least consider giving up RJ Barrett.
Oh, I see. You're crazy. Yeah, you're definitely crazy,
man,
bro.
John,
you're crazy.
Ben Simmons. Not for Ben Simmons. Not for Ben Simmons.
Josh,
so you guys think somebody?
You wildin', bro.
So
you wildin'.
So
wildin'.
RJ Barrett, you want to give up RJ Barrett for nothing? And this is an all-NBA player.
I didn't say for nothing. Not for Ben Simmons. You wildin', bro.
You do this
you
all
wildin'.
the time because we don't want to give him up for Ben Simmons. Now we don't want to give him up for nobody. Nah,
yeah, you wildin', bro. For Ben Simmons, you wildin'. You wildin', man.
RJ doesn't have that near a ceiling as Ben Simmons does.
Oh my God!
How did you know that? How do you know that?
In my opinion, Ben Simmons has hit his ceiling because he's refusing to improve his shooting.
And I think RJ Barrett will never hit that ceiling. I don't think RJ Barrett is going to be an All NBA player in the next 5 years.
But you know what? We're not going to pay him $35 million either.
Right, exactly. If he's not an All NBA, you're not going to pay him $35 million.
We're not going to pay him $35
You wildin', bro.
That's fine. And again.
I knew the lack of logic would rear its ugly head. And that's why I asked that question that way. That's why I said, be specific. Who exactly, right? So you're going to give up, it sounds like if I did my numbers right, it sounds like 4 draft picks.
No, I said 3 draft picks.
Okay, so 3 draft picks.
Yeah.
And RJ Barrett.
Yes.
3 draft picks,
bro.
And
you
RJ Barrett.
You wildin'.
For Ben Simmons, the guy that just averaged 10 points in the playoffs, started for $35 million a season. That's the guy that's going to make this
Ben Simmons is too closer to a championship than RJ Barrett. I'm sorry to tell you, Knicks fans. I'm sorry. I know you guys love RJ Barrett.
For somebody else, Josh, but not him. For somebody else, we could consider it, but not for Ben.
But see, here's the thing, Josh. Here's the thing, and then I want to go on and get your take on what you want the Knicks to do in the draft, all right? Because we done talked about Ben Simmons to death, and he done shot himself in the foot and missed. Or tried to, but
cheddar bomb.
But look, RJ Barrett's in his second season. He shot 40% from 3 this year. He averaged 17 points a game. He averaged 6 rebounds a game. 3 assists.
Sound like Ben Simmons' second year numbers, huh?
It's better than Ben Simmons' second year numbers. Come on now. Ben Simmons has never shot 40% from 3.
Keep rattling up. Keep going. Because we keep talking about the 3-point stuff, but keep going. Let's continue. Keep going.
And okay, so that's RJ Barrett. But now you're talking about trading RJ Barrett for Ben Simmons and draft picks.
You didn't finish the stats, Tim. You didn't finish.
What else do you want me to finish? What else do you want me to finish?
Read off RJ Barrett's playoff numbers: 14 points per game, 28% from 3-point range.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
cool. Okay. That's cool. He's a second-year player. How many years has Ben Simmons been in the playoffs?
5.
Okay, fine, but he's only 24 years old. That's a 24-year-old guy. He's 24. He's still young.
RJ Barrett's 20. RJ Barrett's 20. RJ Barrett is 20 years old.
You guys would rather have RJ Barrett than Ben Simmons? Are you
yes.
kidding right now?
Yes. Right now, yes. Let me tell you something. Because here you go. You saying that Ben Simmons, by trading RJ Barrett for Ben Simmons, and you got to give away draft picks, you get closer to a championship? You don't. Because you're giving away a high-caliber player you get an All-NBA player. But
RJ
now, hold up. What? He's not? He's not high caliber?
Not right now. Not right now.
Okay. He is a high-caliber player. He is not a high-caliber player?
Sim, let's define what a high-caliber player is. Let's put that in context.
Yeah,
because he'll run off with that hyperbole.
Bro, nobody said
run off on a plug with it.
We're not even saying that he's. We're not even saying that. I'm not even saying all-star with high caliber. We're talking about a high-caliber player and a player that's growing who has the potential to be an all-star player.
Okay.
Right? That's what I'm talking about. And so now you want to give up a player that has the potential to be an all-star player. Yeah, he's all NBA, but he's not 30 points a game All-NBA. He's 14 points a game All-NBA.
He's
14.
like all NBA defense and all NBA defense.
Hold up. He's 14 points a game. So he doesn't get you closer because now you gave away something. You gave away one of your primary players, and now you got to replace that primary player. Instead of no, but hold up. Where you could have gone out and got another player without giving up draft picks that could do the same thing as Ben Simmons and increase the value of your team.
Ben Simmons is like
the potential
Rudy
of your team
Gobert of point guards.
If we was talking about somebody else, Josh, I think you would have a better argument. I don't have a problem moving RJ. It's just not for Ben Simmons and $35 million.
If you're moving RJ, you got to get better than Ben Simmons.
If they move RJ, I want if they move RJ, I want Matisse Thybulle with him.
I like
Ben Simmons and Matisse.
Okay, so let me also say this. So I understand where you guys are coming from. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. You don't agree with it.
No.
But hold on, wait.
We understand it.
Because moving RJ. Yeah.
But I don't understand how that doesn't make any sense. I don't think RJ Barrett is this. I like RJ Barrett. I think he is a good player. I'm not taking anything away from him.
It's not about them two being better than each other. It's not about them two being better than each other. It's about now that you've moved RJ and you moved your draft picks and you spent $35 million on Ben Simmons.
Else can you do?
Now what?
Right. You still have draft picks and you will still have money.
But what I'm saying is instead of
building a team.
Right. Instead of getting Ben Simmons, you can get other players and you keep RJ and you still have your money and you still have draft picks and you can get players. Maybe they're not exactly, if you want to say, on the caliber of Ben Simmons, but maybe they're just a little bit lower.
Okay, but
now you have more players. And you got a deeper team.
With your draft pick.
But that logic, when I'm saying, Sim, that logic can apply to any, let's say Damian Lillard. That same logic you have can apply to a player like Damian Lillard, and it'll still be the same thing. The Knicks will trade up all these draft picks. They will do this, they will do that. But
Lillard is better than Ben Simmons.
No, I get that. When I'm not trying to compare the two. Obviously, I know Damian Lillard is better than Ben Simmons. That's not what I was getting at. What I'm saying is, in an attempt to get better, you have to give up something. And when I'm saying
with that. We okay with that, Josh. You know what you're
That's the wrong attempt,
you
bro.
Real tricky.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You talking about Ben Simmons, and then you like, we don't want to give up nothing for nobody. That's not what we're saying.
No, you're talking about specifically about Ben Simmons, but I'm trying to use the rhetoric that you're saying.
We don't mind. But listen,
he talks so
if you
slick,
get Dame,
he talks so slick.
Listen, if you get Dame, you need less. So even if you have less money, you need less.
Less to do what?
To build a team around him. Meaning, so if you get Ben, you need more because there's stuff he can't do. So you need more pieces around him.
I guess.
The big three in Brooklyn, they can sign minimum guys contract because those three gonna do the heavy lifting. You could give them all your money because what do you need around them?
I guess my mentality is this, right? And I see everything you guys are saying. I don't
think so, Josh. I don't think so.
No, I do.
It's always gonna be.
But to be honest, I totally understand where you guys are coming from about giving up assets. You don't think Ben Simmons is the right player. But me, I'm thinking about results, right? If you do the same thing, even with, let's say for Dame, let's say you do the same thing that we're talking about for Damian Lillard, you still will have to build a team around him. And I don't know if that team, I don't know if that team with Damian Lillard as the focal point gets any further in the playoffs. So my thing is, if the results are going to be the same, but that's my thing. If the results are going to be the same, then why even do it? And what I'm saying,
holy crap!
Holy crap!
No,
what I'm saying is, I think you need to do it in order to improve the team. But if you go by the logic of, okay, I don't want to trade assets to go out and get a player like Ben Simmons, an all-NBA player like Ben Simmons, because you still would have to add other pieces, more pieces than you would have to add for Damian Lillard. To me, I just think it defeats the purpose of itself. And in that case, Knicks might as well not do anything. And I don't think
no. I don't think
that's the way I'm thinking about it. That's the way I'm thinking about it, though.
No, we don't mind. At least me, I don't mind the Knicks going out getting a big time player. I said the Knicks need a big time player to go with Randall, or we looking at a first or second round exit every year? So I'm with you on that. But who? That's all we're talking about. Who?
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You got to build a team. No matter who you bring in, you got to bring a team around them.
Right.
But the lower, the worse that player is, the more you're going to need to put around them, and you're not going to have the money to do so.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Ben Simmons has the worst
said Scott Reed is a better GM than Josh. That's funny.
Yeah.
Right now, Ben Simmons in the league, you can scour the league as far as production and output and money. Ben Simmons has the worst contract in the league right now.
That's not true.
Dude, they're paying him $35 million. He averaged 10 points in the playoffs.
Josh, let me ask you, what do you want the Knicks to do in the draft? What do you want the Knicks to do in the draft?
I want them to try to move up. I want them to try to leverage those 2 picks and at least try to move up. If they can't, they don't want to, trade the picks to go after a high caliber player, whatever the case may be. I want them to try to leverage some of their picks from next year, the second round picks from next year, and try to move up in the draft to see if we can capitalize on some of these lottery teams.
Okay,
so you can't get Ben Simmons.
So who?
You can't get Ben Simmons. If you keep those picks and you use them, Ben Simmons is out of your equation, and this is the guy that you're clamoring over. Hold
on. Forget about Ben Simmons. We've been on that joint forever. So who are you targeting? Who are you targeting as far as to trade up with? Right, you got Orlando has two picks in the top 10. Phoenix has 2 picks in the top 14. They got number 7 and number 14. San Antonio has number 12. Who are you targeting to try to move up?
So originally I was thinking about Golden State, right? But I kind of agree with what Steph was saying earlier. They're trying to win now. They just built that arena over there. You don't know how much longer Steph and Clay are going to be around. They're shooters. I think they'll be around for a while. But I think as far as their window, they're going to try to go out and be aggressive right now. So I don't think Golden State is going to be wanting to move down. But a team like Phoenix, I think Phoenix, since they have, they're winning now, they're going to try to, want to, build for, the future as well. And I think Phoenix will be a team. I like San Antonio. Us moving up to take San Antonio's spot. I don't think we'll be up in the top 5. I don't think we'll have enough. We have enough leverage for that right now. But San Antonio, Phoenix are the 2 teams that I'm looking at. And also Orlando. Orlando's bringing in and Indiana. Those are, so I like those 4 teams right there. I think that we can be able to use our picks to go up at least that high, but nothing higher than that.
Okay, what about you, Evergreen?
I would say that Josh needs to talk about picks and only picks from now on, because that made sense. I'm thinking the same thing, right? Move up, but I mean, I'm not. It's either you try to move up in the draft, but I like I said earlier over the phone, I want to take those picks and grab me a bona fide wing scorer. That's what I want to do. Like, I don't even want to use those picks. I'm a believer of the run back. Until you feel that you're ready to make that big superstar move, you do. But I'm taking those picks and I'm packaging them all up, and I'm trying to get me a bona fide scoring wing somewhere. That's what I'm doing. I don't even want to use them. I believe in the move that they did with grabbing Vildoza. I trust that because they gave me all of the trust in the world last season. Everything that they did with those picks and those moves last season, with the way that they moved up and ended up getting quickly, the way they finagled that whole situation, and I trust what they're doing. I trust that front office. So I am saying, take those picks, move up, get me a bona fide wing, and run it back. Develop these players a little bit more. Even if that means a first round exit, which, if that means a first round exit, then so be it. But when the team feels that they're comfortable and players are like, hey, I want to go there, and we can drop a big bag on a big superstar player that's willing to come here, or we can make a big trade to get them to come here, I'm willing to do that. But I'm only willing to do that when we are comfortable in knowing that we are over the hump and this is the move that we think that's going to make us a championship contending team. So I'm packaging those draft picks, and I'm getting me a wing, a guy that wants to be here.
Yeah, see, I'm just not, as we talked about this earlier, I'm not as I don't want to say sold. I don't know anything about him. I'm not putting any stock in Vildoza until I see him play. I'm just not putting any stock in him until I see him play. I need to see him perform first. Well, obviously not me, right? The team, so I don't know. Maybe they've already seen some workouts. Maybe they were, like in-person workouts, not, video, but even then, I think you still need to see him play in a game under pressure with NBA competition before you can say, I'm going with this guy.
I just don't think that an organization will go all the way to Argentina and say, we'll buy you out of your contract and give you $3 million for you to come over here and play with us, guaranteed for 1 year. And they don't trust his abilities. At least they trust his abilities enough for 1 year, because if they didn't trust him at all, they buy him out, which would be the first gamble. And the second gamble would have been, all right, well, we don't really trust that guy that much. Team options from now all the way until the 4 years or 3 years is up, and we'll move him. No, they trust him for a year. They gave him that $3.5 million, which is really the cheapest contract that we'd have. Technically it's a rookie contract, so it'll be the most expensive rookie contract. But at the time when we made the move last season, it was the cheapest contract that we had on the books. So it's like they trust him enough to bring him here and to give him 3.5 a year, right? See what he's got. Put him in a situation and see what he's got. Because the point guard market just isn't enough.
But here's the thing, though, Evergreen. They gave him 3.5 for 2020, 2021. That's it. Every other year is non-guaranteed.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. They wasted that $3.5 million when they had Elfrid Payton on the books, Derrick Rose on the books, and they had Emmanuel Quickley playing the combo guard. They wasted that money. They had that $3.5 million. They brought him here, and they couldn't even use him. They couldn't use him at that point in time. But here's
the thing. Here's the thing. I think there's a couple of things that play when it comes to Luca Vildoza. One, they had to spend some money, right? Because they had to reach a floor, so they had to spend some money. So that was a way that they could spend some money. Two, by giving him non-guaranteed contracts that go for the next, 3 years, it also opens them up to be able to trade him during the draft if they need or want to. So I think it goes more than, I'm not saying that they don't want to take a look at him, but I think it goes more than just, we trust this guy so much we're giving him this contract. I think it's a little bit more than that, because now they can trade him during the draft, because his contract extends beyond this year. So I think that, there's a little more that goes into it than just, they believe this guy could be something special or something like that. And they might believe that.
If they decide to trade him during the draft, and we jump in that point guard market, and we look at the point guard position and the center position. But again, we have all this draft capital. Look at the point guard position somewhere lower in the draft. Look at the center position somewhere lower in the draft. And take all the rest of those draft picks, and let's try to get us a bona fide wing scorer somewhere. And I think getting a bona fide wing scorer and running it back with project point guards, because we can still, re-sign Derrick Rose, right? The horrible point guard that we had in Elfrid Payton is gone, right? The really, really bad position that we had was just the scorer, a guy that can score. Reggie Bullock wasn't doing it for us. Reggie Bullock, you can give him 8 more points. You can get somebody that can give you 8 more points a game than what Reggie Bullock can do. And that wing player can hopefully make up for the loss that we get out of Alec Burke. You muted, Steph. Oh, there you go. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Steph.
I think to answer your question, I would prefer that the Knicks not even draft anybody. I don't want the Knicks to draft. I don't want the Knicks to move up. I want the Knicks to trade those players. We need a bona fide other scorer on this team, period. Now, if they can't find it, then we can upgrade here and there, because I don't want them to spend just to spend if that player is not out there. But I do want the Knicks to be aggressive. I want them to go out there and find an all-star or NBA-type player that they can put with Randall. That's what I want, number one. If you could give up, I don't care how many draft picks they need to give up, that's what we need. That being said, if you can't find that player, I'm okay with just, I don't want to say running it back, because I don't know how many of them guys I want back, but I'm okay with them short-term contracts, 3 years, play option on the third year or whatever, because they couldn't find the guy. But I want them to be aggressive in trying to find the guy.
I can tell you who I don't want back. Over Payton's not coming back, and Reggie Bullock is my so-so guy not coming back. And my only reason for not wanting Alec Burke and Nerlens Noel is because they overplayed their contract and they're going to demand easily $14-15 million a year, and I'm not willing to pay those two journeyman dudes that money. Go ahead, Nerlens Noel is already rumored to be. Portland's already looking at him. Go ahead, go buy.
So Evergreen, when you say running back, you say you want to run it back with another group of stopgap players because those guys are all stopgaps. So you want to go out and
agree.
That's okay.
Agree. Yeah.
1 year players? I don't think you could do it with 1 year players.
I don't either. I don't agree with that. Yeah.
3 year players with a team option on that third year, because you never get to move, you never get to build a core and grow from year to year if you're having that much turnover.
Well, again, my core is the six that we have on the books. Well, not so much Franklin Mukina, but really that five that we have on the books. My core is quickly, Mitch, RJ, Derrick Rose,
Derrick Rose not on the books. So on the books is Julius Randle.
You're running him back. He's a part of the run back.
Okay,
he's a guy that I'm willing. He went from $8 million. I'm willing to give him up to 14, 15. That's a guy I will give $14, $15 million a year, for the next 2 or 3 years. That's a guy that I'm willing to do that for. Okay. Right. But those other players that, I'm not doing that for. So when I say that core, yes, he's a part of my run back.
But when you say core, I'm thinking about championship.
Like RJ, Mitchell Robinson. Those are the five guys that I'm at least bringing back. If I decide to not move Kevin Knox, I'm cool with not moving him for the sake of the development or whatever we intend on doing with him. Right. Clearly the Knicks organization sees some type of potential in a guy because they had opportunities to trade him and they didn't. Right. So those five are at least coming back that I'm signing. Those five are coming back. Guaranteed. Kevin Knox can come back or he's obviously still in the books. He can stay. Maybe a Frank, I don't know, but those five are at least coming back. So that's what I'm talking about on the run back.
But that's not what but even with those five, you're gonna have a whole new team next year. Even with those five, you're gonna have a whole new, and that's what makes the Knicks in a tricky position. You're trying to build off a season when 60% of your roster is not under contract. How do you build on a season like that? Next year's team is going to be totally different. And that's why the other teams have the edge, in my opinion, because they're running back a lot of their players, and we're going to have a lot of turnover.
Unless you're willing to pay some of those guys that you say you don't want, you'll have to pay them that money, what they earn, and run it back next season to see what we can do next season.
Yeah. Or even if you do run it back that way, you run them back with team options. Run them all back with team options. Hey, I'll pay you now, but I'll pay you now, but I'm giving you a team option, which means there's other teams in the league that are looking at you. Say again?
Yeah. I know we're gonna bring some guys back, but I'm looking to upgrade and get better. You know what I'm saying? Smartly. I'm looking to upgrade and get better. Let me get to a couple of super chats here. Raul Wilson, thank you for the super chat. He hit me up twice. I appreciate it. He said, we can't sign and trade Noella Burks to teams that need cap space for later picks. I guess, I guess you could do that, right? If there was some kind of way. But for the most part, I think with those guys, if a team wants them, they're going to sign them outright. There's not going to be a sign and trade. You would think there's not going to, I don't think there's going to be a sign and trade with those guys. I guess it's possible. That they could be part of a sign and trade scenario. 1975 Jam Rock, he said he would keep the picks, sign Zoe, and draft Christopher Ndewart. Said that's what he would do in this upcoming draft. There's a lot that can be done in Leon Rose has, he's got his work cut out for him with this draft right here. He's got his work cut out, and just, not him, but the entire front office has their work cut out, and what they're going to do, how they're going to use the draft to be able to build the team. They have a lot of draft capital as far as having those 4 draft picks. We'll see what they're going to do, man. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out on July 29th at the draft party. Hopefully everybody's going to be there at the draft party. At the draft party, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you are there. Tomorrow afternoon, the registration is going to be open for NBK members. You'll have 2 days to get your VIP ticket. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 days to get your VIP ticket. You can see it right there. Draft party is going to be at the Flagship Resort in Atlantic City, Thursday, July 29th. For those who got a VIP ticket, the doors will open up at 5. For those who are just coming in with everyone else, it'll open up at 8 p.m. All right, you can see who's going to be there on the panel. It's going to be a live podcast. It's going to be more than just a podcast. We'll be doing some live games. We got a lot of things lined up. Legion of Knicks, Die Hard Knicks, Knicks and Bruisers, the Queen's Court. Julito is going to be there with us. It's going to be dope. Free entry after 8 p.m., but VIP, those who have a VIP ticket, they enter at 5. And with your VIP ticket, you get an exclusive live podcast that we'll be doing at that time. Be a live taping. There'll be some live games that we play. You'll get a chance to network with all the NBK fam content creators. You got a happy hour buffet. You get 1 beer draft from the 7 Mile Brewery, but there'll be beer samples all night from the 7 Mile Brewery. And, of course, you'll be able to buy drinks from the bar and stuff like that. Sponsored by the Fantasy Resorts. It's going to be dope, ladies and gentlemen. So look for it tomorrow. If you're a member, look for that post to come out for you to get your tickets, your VIP tickets. I can't wait for it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun.
Wish I could be there, man. I live right up the block, man. Wish I could be there, man. I would have so much fun with y'all.
Yeah, man. Damn, so man. all these Knicks fans who are in Philly and Atlantic City, get it in quick because, it's only 3-hour drive. So, everybody from NYC is going to be there. So you better get it in quick, ladies and gentlemen. Get it in quick before they sell out. But I'm going to head out for the night. It's been an energized show, I guess. Been an energized show.
Love, Josh.
And we wasn't even arguing over our own players. We arguing over Phillies players. But any last words before we get out of here, Steph? I'll start with you.
I enjoyed the panel today. Nothing but love to you, Josh. I know I get hyped and what have you, but nothing but love. I appreciate you. I appreciate your takes, and I appreciate you being bold. We need that on the panel. Just continue being who you are. Shout out to you, Sim. Good to see you, Evergreen. It's been a minute. Let's go Knicks, man. Let's go Knicks. Hey, I'm with you, Josh, about being aggressive, though. I'm with you. But it's the right aggressive.
Doubt. Evergreen?
Listen, man, you gotta watch these slick talking New Yorkers, yo. You gotta. It's easy to catch them, man. You just gotta ask them a few questions, get them to prove their point. You know what I mean? Some people do it to me all the time, but just ask them a few questions, let them back themselves into a corner, and boom, you got them. You expose them. That's it. Peace and love to everybody, man. It's good to, I had to take that little hiatus, man, because I know a lot of people out in Atlanta. They've been giving me a real hard time. So I've been kind of a little depressed about the game, but, I was feeling A1 and amazing after that Brooklyn loss and after the Philly loss. So I was like, let me show back up and show some love. I wish I could be there down at the Flagship. I'm literally right up the block from it. If you guys have never been there before, it's an amazing hotel and casino. It's a nice place, a nice resort over there. They do a lot of timeshares and selling stuff. So that's how I'm kind of aware of what they do over there. I kind of got hooked into some of that stuff out there, but, head out there, have a good time. I'll be there. I'll be listening and support down in Virginia. Y'all have a good time. I wish y'all nothing but the best of luck and be safe. And I'll see y'all on the up and up.
All right. Josh.
Salute. It's always a pleasure to debate with you guys. Nothing but love. But for everyone out there, I just hope everyone understands. I'm not trying to spend the money all crazy. I'm not trying to use the assets all crazy. I really still do believe in Ben Simmons. I really think he is going to be a great player in this league. I think he's a great player right now. I know he had a terrible playoff performance, but so did Julius Randle. And a lot of people, oh, well, he still had an all-star season. Yeah, but in the playoffs,
making $35 million.
Yeah, but he's about to almost. You know what I mean?
No, he's not.
About paying him the money.
Next year he makes 20, and then the Knicks got to make a decision whether or not they want to pay him. So I'm just saying.
All I'm gonna say is that they don't sign Julius Randle, then I think we're back to square one because we don't have that all NBA player. We don't have that all-star. So again, I think the Knicks are in a good spot. I think the Knicks are in a good spot. I know I'm talking all this Ben Simmons talk, but to be honest, I just want the Knicks to actually be aggressive and use the money that they have. We will not be cap strapped if we go after one person that's making $35 million, no matter who that player is, whether it be Ben Simmons, Dame, whoever. Let's go out, let's be aggressive, let's spend our money, and let's use our assets. We can't keep shopping at the 99-cent store getting these stopgap players. We have to actually start building something. I think we have. Let's continue to build on that.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Appreciate your time, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.
It's NBK. Nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.